na 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 na. Na 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 na. Here comes the hot snapper.
All right, here we go live from St. Joe here on a Monday. Cody and Gold at Chiefs training camp. We'll talk plenty of camp throughout the show. We're going to have Jared Wiley, Chiefs rookie tight end, join us at some point at the end of this hour, early in the 11 o'clock hour. Plus, expected to hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Creed Humphrey, Trent McDuffie as a shorter practice today. I don't know if it was already scheduled or if Andy Reid's just doing them a solid, but obviously dangerous temperatures throughout this week. So hope everybody is staying safe out there, and especially the fans that are here at training camp, around 3,000 or so at camp today. But no pads, just the shorts today. So practice a little bit lighter. So we'll keep an eye on things here from the football perspective, Cody. But we obviously have to start with the Royals, and we're expected to hear from J.J. Picollo in about 15 minutes as he addresses the media, because we got our first move in a couple weeks from the Royals. I don't know if it'll be the last one before tomorrow's deadline, but Michael Lorenzen, a veteran pitcher from the Texas Rangers, comes to Kansas City now. The Royals trade away minor leaguer Walter Pennington in just a 1v1 swap. For those who don't know, quick observation on Lorenzen. All-star last year, 3.81 ERA in 18 starts this year. Threw a no-no last year. Lefties hitting just a $1.44 against him. This month has been a little rougher for him, 5.49 ERA. But I think, Cody, when the bullpen has been the issue throughout the season, but then you couple potential injuries where Hunter Harvey's day-to-day, and you look at some of the availability aspect, plain and simple, before you even get into some of the struggles from individuals. I think they had to go get an arm. I don't know if this was the move that they were already planning or if this is an additional move for the other move that they're making.
So, look, I was starting to think that maybe it wasn't going to happen, but then I saw two relievers leave the game yesterday, and you're like, well, I'm not really sure what choice they have. And I guess part of the reason that I was like, here's the reason why I kind of love this deal. Because your initial thought is, well, why would you love a deal that seems like relatively minor on the surface of it, and you don't have to get too carried away? Well, there's a big reason why I love this deal, and that's because over the weekend, when I started watching what relievers were going for, I'm like, thank God they got that Hunter Harvey deal done when they did, because I do not like the asking price for a number. I saw what they gave it for Jason Adam, and I'm like, pass, right? All of a sudden, I was talking myself into, well, I guess you're just going to roll with what you got and see what happens. To this point, has the bullpen let you down? Sure. But to this point, were you in a playoff spot despite that? Yeah. So maybe you were just going to have to roll the dice and see what happened at the end of it. The reason why I love this deal is it's a 26-year-old hard-throwing reliever that you didn't even let crack your pen. So even if he is good somewhere else, and he might be, all you gave up was a controllable 26-year-old guy who wasn't in your big league bullpen for a starter the rest of the way. I understand it's a rental. This is a good deal. I'm assuming this means Marsh to the pen. But that fact alone, the price tag for the players alone, is the reason why I like this deal.
Well, because Lorenzen really for the last year and a half, 2 years has been a starter. So, I don't think this is him to the bullpen and Marsh staying in. Let's be honest, Alec Marsh hasn't pitched as well since the first month and a half.
Now there's Lorenzen, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's an argument for both. I mean, yeah. So the last couple outings for Lorenzen, he couldn't get out of the first inning. Then the next day, he actually gave the Rangers 4 innings. So it'll be interesting. We're going to hear from JJ coming up, and obviously he'll probably provide some clarification on exactly the role they see for him. But they just needed more arms too. And you're right. If you're going to trade for a rental, you don't want to give up, and no disrespect to Walter Pennington, you don't want to give up a prospect that might have a long-term future with your organization if you don't have to. And that's not what they did, right? It was a cool moment. I am glad for Walter Pennington. He got to have his MLB debut in Colorado in front of his family, pitched really well. Remember, they sent him right back down the next day, and he hasn't been back up since. So I don't think anybody should be freaking out about what you gave up for a guy who's been a career minor leaguer essentially, and again, reliever, not a guy that was a starter or any view of that. He was already viewed as a reliever in the organization. So you get a guy that hopefully can help solidify some things. When every game matters, man. We know that every game matters now. Less than 60 to go, and you're in the thick of a wild card race, and you're going to need that. And I still think I wouldn't mind another bullpen arm, though. Even if Alec Marsh is now that arm,
He's
they
technically
don't.
an
They
arm,
don't
yeah.
have minor league answers for the pen. Look at anything that's going on right now, from whether it's a Will Klein type or any.
Or they could have gone with Walter Pennington, the guy they just traded.
They don't have a minor league option to come up and help the bullpen. They don't. So they got to go trade for either a starter that can bump someone in the bullpen, which is what you think might be happening here
I kind of think
with
that's
Alec
the
Marsh,
vibe.
or go and get a bullpen arm before tomorrow's deadline. But the asking price, seller's market. We've seen that for an established bullpen guys.
That's it. It is steep, Gold, really steep to go out and just buy a surefire reliever. Think about it. This is a creative way to do it cheap. If this is the only move they make before the deadline, if this is the last move they make, they obviously made the move for Hunter Harvey, who I hope is okay. He did leave injured yesterday.
Day-to-day.
Multiple pitchers left early yesterday, so you hope is okay in the long hauls. He was grimacing coming off the mound yesterday. But this was the creative way to do it cheap. Now, you got to convince yourself that you can turn Alec Marsh into a reliever, even though that's not what he's been doing, Gold. Like, it's just straight up not what he's been doing. Because what's the other alternative? If that's not their plan, then they're looking at innings catching up to Seth Lugo, or innings catching up to Reagans, or innings catching up to Singer. Because, by the way, all three of them might be on pace for career highs in all of those numbers. And they're just thinking, we might need to do a six-man rotation for a bit, save ourselves a couple of innings, and then move Marsh to the pin as we slowly work away. Those are the only two explanations.
Yeah, because Lorenzen has started since he's been with the Rangers, but that'll be what we're going to find out some clarity on from Piccolo here in a little bit, because how do you approach that right now? Based off of what you mentioned, we know Reagan's already is at a career high. Singer's pacing for it. Lugo's just a few innings short, I think, of his career high from a season ago. And so do you view Lorenzen as the guy that can be the bullpen guy that you're able to just extend out longer, or is he truly just a flat-out starter? I
know he's a great safety net. Like, if something happens, if Lugo's innings caught up to him, at least you got two more guys. At least you got another guy who can start, right? Like, there's no harm in that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good
Lorenzen's
safety
already
net either
stretched
way.
out as a starter. You know, so that's he just went 4 innings the other day after pitching 1 inning the day before.
Yeah, and they didn't give up that much.
Yeah, multiple people in the text are saying he's been a reliever. I understand that. I understand that. Since he's been with Texas, he's been mainly a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Yes, when he was with the Reds, he was a reliever. If you look at, he has done both, but recently he has been more of a starter. That's all I'm saying. Now, the Royals can use him whatever way they think is most valuable. Just because he was a starter, I'm not telling you that he can't be a reliever. But the notion of, like, he has been a reliever, not recently he hasn't. He's mainly been a starting pitcher.
He's been starting this year. He threw
Yeah.
a no-hitter in his starter last year. He was an all-star last year as a starter. It is kind of hard to imagine that that's not the role they're going to put him in my opinion. Now, I wouldn't say 0%, because I do think Marsh has done a nice job this year. I think it's hard to complain about the job Marsh has done. I thought earlier in the year you could make the argument he was pitching as well as the other three names we've mentioned 1,000 times this year, in Singer, Lugo, and Reagans. So knowing that, it is kind of hard. But the other part is you got control with Marsh. Just because he's not a starter for the next 2 months for you doesn't mean he can't be. Doesn't mean he can't be a starter in the long haul for you. They're making moves about being better this year, this season, trying to get to the postseason. And so sometimes you got to back burner a guy and then come back around on somebody. And I don't know that that's for sure what's going to happen. Again, J.J. Piccolo is scheduled to talk in about 10 minutes or so. But when you look at the possibility of the trade, it's hard for me to imagine you're trading for a guy who is actively starting for someone, and then you're like, sure, let's make him a reliever. Like, when they gave Lugo the money, I didn't think they were going to put him in the bullpen, even though he had primarily pitched in the bullpen up to that stage in his life. But when you're talking about it, it's a little bit different on that end. I'm surprised, I'm happy to be talking Royals, because last night was frustrating, and they lost 2 series in a row, and it felt like they should have had that Cubs series a couple times over, because they had leads close enough to late in the game to blow it. But they're just an imperfect team.
Yeah, they're still not consistent enough. This is why I really think it's all about the wild card. Just a week ago, you and I were sitting up here, right, and they had just swept the White Sox, and they had got it down to within 4. That's because they had swept the White Sox, and the Guardians had gotten, or the Red Sox had gotten swept, and the Guardians have been struggling. It's a reminder of, like, just within 1 week, how quickly things can change. Yes, on one hand, they can change for the positive, but it's not always for the better.
Other way, for sure.
And that's what happened, unfortunately. And so I maintain that I think the wild card is where the focus should be. Not talking about the guys in the clubhouse. That's clearly not their mindset. I'm talking about how I view it, and I think fans should be focused more on the wild card than division. I don't think division is all that realistic because of the inconsistencies. They're a flawed baseball team. That's fine. They're ahead of schedule. It's been a great year. Let's get in the wild card. Let's see what happens. Get in the wild card. And this move today, I think, helps that. I still am not convinced that one more arm wouldn't help. You know, we saw what Jazz Chisholm went for with the Yankees.
Yeah.
That was a lot to give up.
Ooh,
I don't think the Royals
Although
are
the
really
report was the Royals were interested in him too.
So there's the balance there. I'm not saying that every organization does this. Whether it was Estevez or whatever, the closer for the Angels, or whether it's Jazz Chisholm, then a few minutes later, reports come out from national media members that they were really close. Look.
Actually, the one on Chisholm said that somebody else was closer than the Royals.
So I guess my point is on that, like, that's great. I don't deny that they weren't calling, but, you know.
They might have called and they said, Blake Mitchell, and you're like,
that's great. You're close on
nice,
everybody.
It's been nice talking.
And I'm not saying they should have traded for Jazz Chisholm because I think you have to be careful with what you're giving up in this current year. But standing pat also then is worse than doing either. And fortunately, they made a move today, and I hope by tomorrow afternoon maybe there's another move. Maybe it's a random rotational bat. We know they've been in discussions with the Angels, Ward or otherwise. So I don't think this is the last move. That's what you're asking. I think there's one more to come before tomorrow afternoon.
We're up here at Chiefs training camp. Gold mentioned we'll hear from J.J. Piccolo in just a minute. I thought we almost might start Chiefs even though the Royals made a trade. Because right before we went on the air, there was a pass from Mahomes to Tony, who threw it back to Mahomes, who threw it to Tony, who then threw it to Xavier Worthy. A Cinco pass.
It took a long time to
five
develop.
Pass.
Took a long time to develop.
But Worthy was very open by the time they got through the 4 passes back and forth between Mahomes and Tony. It went Mahomes, Tony, and then the pass all the way down to Worthy. I thought for a second, I was locked in, man. You don't see 4 back and forth pass attempts before the ball gets aired out downfield. Kudos to Tony. He got the ball downfield.
He did. He did. It was a nice looking throw. We will get back into the Royals not only with J.J. Piccolo in 5 minutes, but also throughout the show. We'll talk more about the bullpen. Obviously, James MacArthur yesterday again with a bad performance. It's been a horrific month of July. Thank you all for the tweets. I appreciate that. I'm glad you think I have so much control over how changing his name means that performances are impacted. But he's been bad. He's been bad, plain and simple. We're going to talk about that. A week ago, everybody wanted Sam Long to close. Everybody still want that?
After he gave it the Grand Slam?
They don't have an option, really, at closer. It's going to have to be matchup-driven. That's an issue for them, clearly. So we'll talk more about that. Someone says, wait, Tony caught both. That's right. He caught 2 passes on 1 play.
Yeah, he did. He caught both and delivered a strike.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you want from Kadarius Toney?
Also, some other notes. Great news. Joe Thuney was back at practice. He returned. Remember, he was on the PUP list.
Immediately with the ones.
Immediately ran with the number ones, except when they were doing some that was just installs. He wasn't doing it when they were doing some of the team drills. So that's one thing. Also, Hunter Norzad got work at left guard today. Other notes, still no Chris Jones practicing. Remember, over the weekend, a groin injury for Chris Jones. He's out here walking around, but not really practicing. Hollywood Brown dealing with an illness. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I have not seen him. I know he had an illness yesterday. Have you seen Clyde?
I didn't see him come down.
So I think Clyde and Hollywood are both still gone today.
You think it's strep again?
Oh, who knows?
You think that he got
They're
strep?
living in a dorm. Who knows, man? Remember dorm days? You never know what's going on. You could have
I didn't live in a
be
dorm.
flu. It could be cold stomach. Anything. I'm going to say it could be anything. How about that? Any illness, Cody. Everything's on the table. We're going to get an update on your illness, too, at some point today.
Yeah, we can get a medical update if you want.
On Friday.
I went to go see a doctor.
On Friday, you had a very swollen finger. I told you I didn't think it was broken. We were saying maybe it's gout. Maybe it's an infection. But you said you went and saw a doctor, so we'll get an update on that in a little bit. I'm curious.
I will release my own HIPAA information for you.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Well, there might have been someone else. I'll just leave it at that. I got
somebody else might have
I got some inside information.
You're talking to my doctor now?
I'm just going to say I was given Saturday morning some inside information on your whereabouts.
What the hell do you need to care
Don't
what
worry
doctor
about it.
I'm at?
We've got people everywhere, man.
You got spies on me now? Gold's got spies. Gold's keeping an eye on whether or not I'm going to the doctor or not. Interesting. Okay.
I'm just saying, I didn't seek out the info. The info was provided
for you. Huh?
Me. By the way, I do want to point this out. This is from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, his official Twitter handle. So this might explain and does explain where things are at. He says, living with PTSD is no small feat. It's hard and very overwhelming. Within the last month, I've had many flare-ups, and the amazing staff here at Chiefs have been helping me get through some tough times. I'll be back rolling next practice. All love, Glidro. So there you go.
Oh, man, I missed that.
Dealing with some mental health issues. That is the illness officially listed as illness, but that is the issue. Clyde
Good
making
for Clyde for
on
speaking
that
on it.
publicly on his. That's from his Twitter account.
Um,
Sounds like he'll be back on Wednesday, though. That's the plan, at least.
like, obviously, he's speaking about what took place at the parade, you would assume.
Oh, I don't want to speculate. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't
When
want
he's
to.
talking about PTSD, I'm just going to. But, like.
But that could be any. I don't want to speculate on the exact. Other than what he tweeted,
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, I don't. Again, that's fair. I don't think it's overly speculative, but I can understand. You're right. It could be from other things. But either way, it's good to speak about the mental health issues that he's going through and those things. And as you know, Clyde had spent part of his offseason a year or two ago trying to work on being a nurse again. So, like, these things in the medical community are important to Clyde. I missed that tweet earlier. It's really cool that he was able or willing
I
to
just saw it
speak
come
on
across
it.
timeline.
But yeah, so Clyde out today. Says he'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get some of those other illnesses out of the way, like Hollywood Brown, and we'll get some of those guys back. But yeah, we saw the same guys. No Nani, no Chris Jones, who was out from the groin injury over the weekend. Nazi Johnson. Like, we've seen a few little ticky-tack injuries flare up, Gold.
Yep.
But nothing that I would deem overly concerning at the moment. Does that sound about right to you? Nothing's going to send me into panic. Nothing's going to say
No,
who's gonna
because the
step up
guys
in their
that
absence.
the guys that are missing. I mean, Derek Notty's still not practicing. We already knew that. Recovering from the tricep injury. Jalen Watson. We already knew he wasn't going to be in pads for a while, based off of his torn labrum from last season that we learned he played with it all year and then had surgery. And Chris Jones, the groin. I'm guessing they're just being really cautious. The fact that he's out here and walking around and stuff would lead you to believe that it's not a very serious groin injury for Chris Jones. So that has been pointed out a few times throughout camp. And, yeah, anytime you see an illness listing, those are usually things that people bounce back from, depending on the severity of it. And, obviously, in Clyde's case, it's a little more unique of a circumstance.
Yeah, a little bit different. It might be something he deals with for a long time. But also, like you said, typically won't keep you out for more than a couple of days of practice, and then you will be back with the team here moving forward. I'm watching special teams now. The other camp observation worth
New
mentioning,
kickoffs.
as it's all done, they spent this entire time convincing us, and we talked about it on the air, that the Chiefs might have had a distinct advantage in the kickoff game with Justin Reed or LRZ, that they could have been taking advantage of. And after all of it shook out, guess who's been kicking the ball off again? Harrison
Well,
Butker.
Dave Tobe over the weekend spoke to the media and said Butker's our guy kicking off. So I think we can put that to rest. It's not going to happen.
If Justin Reed had played the entire training camp, I think it might be different. But now he's got a quad injury. They're probably not going to risk it.
Well, there was speculation, though, that that LRZ was going to maybe kick off in addition to being a kick returner, and that they've backed off of that. So it looks like the idea for the time being is that it's going to be Harrison Butker. Kicking off, which in other years, a year ago, you would have been like, well, no kidding, he's kicking off. But times are different now with the new kickoff rules, so we actually have to clarify.
Wait, the kicker's kicking off?
Yes.
Look, here's the truth. I think that they really wanted Justin Reed to do it. They gave LRZ a chance. And what I had mentioned to you when we first talked about this, Gold, is, hey, are they sure that a non-kicker can possess the consistency it might require in order to do this successfully? And you're like, it's fine. They're putting Justin Reed out there. They must trust him to do it. I think they did trust Justin Reed to do it. And then I think they got LRZ out there, and the ball was probably going a little left or right sometimes. Probably going a little too deep, a little too short. He probably didn't have the consistency to put the ball where it needed to be on a regular basis. And as a result of that, they had to adjust back to Harrison Butker and just lose the tackler in this regard. So they're back in the same position pretty much every other team is in the NFL. So there's no real advantage in it, but there's not a disadvantage in going back to the old way.
Dave Tobe also said, though, that, the real competition for kickoff returner is more like 3 guys, even though he said he was joking, but he's like, we've had like 19 different guys returning kicks for this team. They're just trying to get all options that are out there. Remember, they haven't even been in pads for a full week yet. First day of pads was last Friday, and today they're not in pads. So they've had, 3 padded practices? That's it. Now, the first preseason game will be here before we know it, but we're still over a week. We're still a week away, I think.
Are we next week for it?
The Jags, right? Down in Jacksonville, 9th or 10th, something like that?
Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, more like 2 weeks. Next week is a pretty
August
loose,
10th.
pretty loose term. We're still almost a full 2 weeks away from a Chiefs training or for a Chiefs preseason game. Can't wait, man. Love the buzz. Do you just dial into every?
I mean,
second
I
of
watch. I'm gonna watch.
I put it on the TV.
I mean, I'm gonna
like,
watch.
The second the starters are out, I'll be honest with you, man. When it's Oladukin,
I'll watch the first half, and then like fourth quarter is more of a casual watch, and then keep an eye on something develop. Then I can go back and check it out. But not, it's first and second string, and and go from there. I know people get excited to watch the fourth quarter because that's where the Nico Remigios and the Justin Rosses thrive, and that's where Twitter goes crazy. The catch in the fourth quarter with 10 seconds to go on a last-second Oladukin drive.
While we wait to hear from J.J. Piccolo on the trade that the Royals made today, if you missed it, they traded for Michael Lorenzen, a starter for the Texas Rangers. We'll get an idea of what that could mean for Alec Marsh's role, or if they're thinking Lorenzen in the pen, whatever, as he speaks in a couple of minutes. Can I say one thing that was absolutely
You can say whatever you want, man.
The Royals lost the game, but that's not what was embarrassing. Yesterday, it was embarrassing that these losers at Major League Baseball and Fansided couldn't get the Royals in the Monarchs jersey. What the hell? Come on.
Yeah.
Just the hat because they're too lazy to print them up? What? What's the problem? Because they couldn't work out the deal. I saw the printed statement. It's nonsense. I almost cussed for a second. That's how heated I am about it. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense to me that they do this partnership and then they half-ass every little bit of it. No, the jerseys aren't too skinny. What do you mean the letters are too small? What tiny fraction of an iota of a cent are you trying to save on this deal if you're fan-sided in order to get your money's worth? This is one of the cool things the Royals specifically get to do every year. And every year, they auction off those jerseys, they auction off those hats for charity, for the Negro League Baseball Museum. I can't understand, Gold, what the hell went wrong in the situation that doesn't allow them to wear the jerseys. It was stupid.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a timeline. They were so worried about other issues that simply almost forgot to get to where they needed to be. Yes, that's embarrassing. It shouldn't happen. Yesterday, we still got Bob Kendrick, though, in the broadcast booth for 2 innings, which is always a treat anytime he gets a chance to tell the story of the Negro Leagues. But, yes, the uniform thing, you've done it before, and Fanatics has to figure this out in the future. My guess is, Cody, next year they'll have that taken care of.
It said, we will not be wearing Negro Leagues jerseys due to changes in league uniform regulations, which also applies to other special event uniforms. The Major League Baseball's been a long supporter of the Negro Leagues.
Here's the thing. If you were able to
donate the amount they got for the jerseys last year, we'll call it even.
If you were able to, Fanatics, have enough of the ugly-ass All-Star Game unis produced, you can those specialty uniforms were fine, but you can't get the other ones, so I know it's a small thing, but I'm with you. It was more of an annoyance.
I understand. Like, I get it. Is it the end of the world? No. But what is it? What do they get, right? $20,000 for the museum for this? Donate something. It's just, honestly, it's just stupid. These uniform regulations that nobody cared about until Fansided was like, whoa, that's the same material. And they're like, it's not the same material. I just don't understand why baseball lies all the time. I'm assuming it's another lie. It probably isn't a uniform regulation thing. Fansided just didn't feel like printing them. What's their problem? Well, what's Fansided's issue? What's their deal?
They're taking over the world, man.
They are.
They're the Amazon of the sports world. That's what they are, basically. They're taking over everything. They do trading cards, uniforms, they got all the deals with all the leagues now. They're taking over the world.
They do seem to
like
have
Amazon.
And I hate them because I don't feel like they do as good of a job. They're doing everything a little bit worse, in my opinion, including this. I was just disappointed. I know it's small, man, but, let them wear the Monarchs jerseys. It's cool every year. He was dressed to the nines day, and it just felt kind of weird that, I don't know, they weren't in the jerseys. It's small. I'm not here to.
This really bugged you.
It did. It really did bug me. I understand the level of indiscretion it is. But, yeah, it bugged me, if we're being honest. It really did bug me. Can't sleep at night, one way or the other. Sorry. I didn't mean to get off on that.
You're good. Our training camp coverage here in St. Joe. Presented by Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. While we're waiting for J.J. Piccolo to have his Zoom call to address the Michael Lorenzen trade, because things are going to get shuffled around this hour anyway, go ahead and give us an update then on the finger that we looked at Friday, as you showed everybody and talked about on Friday.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't broken. Was I right or wrong?
You were correct.
Okay.
At least according to the doctor I saw on Saturday. So I decided I'd wait today. I didn't go on Friday. I was like, I'm going to wait to see how it feels. Felt worse Saturday morning. I was like, well, that's not good. It's felt worse 2 days in a row. So I decided I would just first thing in the morning go see an urgent care that had an x-ray, get this thing taken care of, make sure I'm okay.
Is it as swollen today? I'm trying to tell.
It's a little less swollen today.
Uh-huh.
Still not, I wouldn't say it's not swollen, but a little less swollen today. So I went into the doctor. We got x-rays. He said the swelling makes it, kind of impossible to see all the way through, but he does not think it's broken. He just thinks it's he called it a severe sprain because he's a doctor. You know that.
What
works.
were you doing to get a severe
I don't know.
sprain in your finger?
So I got a severe finger sprain. I then asked him about gout. You guys were so in my head about this gout thing.
Yes.
I asked him about gout, and he said it's not gout. So, like, if you're looking for more confirmation on the gout thing, I definitely don't have gout according to this
Okay,
doctor.
that's a good
I will
thing.
say this. I ran into a listener there.
Oh, I know you did, because I had some inside scoop. I got a message. Our listeners are everywhere.
Our listeners are everywhere.
9:04 a.m. Saturday, I get a message with a photo of you sitting in the waiting room.
Oh, my God, he's taking photos of me?
It says Cody just walked in to urgent care, cut the line while others were waiting. It said this guy.
Okay, I didn't cut
He
the
said
line. I just
also-
filled out my paperwork faster.
He said, ironically, he has gout in his foot and started
Wait,
laughing when he walked in.
So wait, he has gout?
He actually has gout.
So of all
Yes.
the people, I could have gone to any urgent care. I went to one where one of 5 people there was a listener who had gout.
That's correct.
He actually
That's
had
correct.
gout.
That's correct.
Are we allowed to release that medical
Well, I didn't
information?
say his name.
Was that a violation?
Nobody knows who it is.
Just some guy.
Some random guy on, as far as the listeners are concerned. But I'm not going to mention his name. But yeah, he messaged me
has gout.
on Twitter and X, and it was a photo of you, and he said you walked in and cut the line, which I was like, oh, of course you did.
I would say
Of course.
I did not. I would say I did not cut the line.
When people are seeking medical care,
We all went in. 5 of us went in when the place opened. 4 or 5 of us went in when the place opened. We're all given paperwork to fill out. I filled out my paperwork faster, even though I wasn't the first person through the door. I was probably the second person taken back. It's not my fault you fill out paperwork slow.
I just don't know how you're
This is a timed
having
business.
severe sprains in
I
your
don't know.
finger, and you don't know how that happened.
He offered me a splint. He's like, but pretty much just ice it, take ibuprofen, don't use it, and you'll be fine.
So what was that, like an $80, $100 doctor's visit to really not get anything?
Don't know. They didn't really give me. I'm
Oh,
sure
you'll
I'll just
find
wait
out
for
soon.
that
Don't
bill.
worry.
It'll
You'll
be,
get.
$100.
It's probably a $100 visit, and you got nothing out of it. Not even a splint.
Nope.
Nothing. No medicine. No pain meds. Pain meds.
No, no payment.
Nothing.
In fairness, I wouldn't have paid for a splint there anyway. I can just go to CVS to get a splint. Do you know what they charge at an urgent care for a splint?
Yeah,
It's
fair
going to be like
enough.
$50.
Fair
I'm not a
enough.
sucker.
Fair
I'll just go
enough.
get my splint somewhere else. I can't
Yeah.
believe someone actually took a picture of me at the
Yep.
doctor's office.
Again, I'm not going to say his name, but he sent it to me and allowed to mention it, and it's a photo of you. It's definitely you.
Oh, it was me.
Yeah, text line's picking. This is why I keep asking. I'm trying to ask for you guys. Cody keeps saying he doesn't know how he got the severe
I don't know how I
finger
got
sprain.
that.
Something
I don't
sketch
know.
is going on. I've tried to ask. He won't tell me.
I don't know how I got hurt. I don't know why you won't believe me,
Yeah.
but I don't know how I got hurt.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's not broken, man, and I'm glad you don't have gout.
I'm glad for both of those things, too, if we're being honest, you know?
Up next, though, something that we know was a big problem a year ago, but maybe the Chiefs are highlighting even more this year, and we're expected to hear from J.J. Piccolo after the Royals make a trade for Michael Lorenzen to help what we think is the rotation, but perhaps it's the bullpen. That's next here from training camp.
Cody and Gold. Make sure to follow the show on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 610 Sports Radio.
High five. Up top.
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Yeah.
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread. The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ends 8/21/24. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's rexbuyskc.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Hi, I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Make history this summer by attending Kansas City Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri. There's still time to join me for year 12 of Chiefs training camp in St. Joe. For more details, go to stjomo.com. stjomo.com. In St. Joe, you'll discover 150 years of history, where the Pony Express began and Jesse James ended. Experience history, make history. Go to stjomo.com. Produced in cooperation with the Missouri Division of Tourism.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As school messes return, rest easy. Clorox has got your back to school.
Oh, no. I'm back. That messy science experiment. And I brought baking soda, cornstarch.
And you're due tomorrow, right? Well, at least I stocked up on Clorox disinfecting wipes. Because you're not messing up my kitchen counters like last time.
Ooh, smart. Got any food coloring?
And off to the store we go.
Stock up on Clorox disinfecting wipes that clean 3 times better than what paper towels and kitchen grease and soap scum. Use as directed.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ah, starting trouble. No one likes that. We can get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Hey football fans, Brian Baldinger here, host of the Best Football Show. With training camp underway, I'm always on the road talking to players and coaches about the upcoming season. It's the kind of access that you got. So to hear what I'm hearing firsthand about your favorite team, then you need to listen to the Best Football Show. I live and breathe X's and O's. So let me translate it all into insights that you can use. This is a podcast for fans who love football as much as I do. Follow and listen to the Best Football Show on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Back here from Chiefs Training Camp, Cody and Gold broadcasting live. We are inside the Comcast Business Tent, powering possibilities. practice going on in front of us. Probably another half hour at most of practice today, and then we're expected to have Chiefs rookie tight end Jared Wiley join us. I know there's a lot of expectations for him, maybe this year, but certainly into the future as well, and what he can present. He definitely looks the part in terms of another good-sized tight end that if you're looking for the same mold of Travis Kelce with high school quarterback, all of that kind of stuff, he fits that. So we'll get to know Jared Wiley, and it looks like practice actually, as I said, that is winding down. They'll do some stretching stuff. So we're probably about 10-plus minutes away within the next 15. I would be surprised if we don't have Jared Wiley. We're also expected to hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Creed Humphrey, and Trent McDuffie. And a little bit later on, things got delayed on the J.J. Piccolo Zoom call. So we'll have that for you probably next hour or the noon hour today. And if anything of note changes on the trade front for Michael Lorenzen, we'll let you know. There is one report I'll reference, though, Cody, before we move on to the Chiefs. Jim Bowden, who was on with The Drive the other day, he just tweeted out moments ago, according to sources, the Orioles, Yankees, Red Sox, and Royals are the 4 teams leading the mix of teams trying to acquire Tanner Scott from the Marlins, but other teams also in pursuit. Now, look, I hope I'm way wrong on this. I will gladly be wrong. But I would be fairly shocked.
That's a tough group to outbid.
If the Royals outbid the Orioles, Yankees, and Red Sox, knowing their farm system and what seemingly is the Royals' position of not wanting to give up a ton of the future prospects to get a piece. Now, would I love Tanner Scott? Would that help solidify the issues in the back end of the bullpen? Oh, of course it would. I think they are going to make another move. I just don't know if it's Tanner Scott. I would love it. That's just you're in the ballpark. You get Tanner Scott, Cody. You might be trading Blake Mitchell. You might be trading your top 3 prospects.
You might be giving up. Yeah, you might. And here's the thing that I think makes it a little bit easier of a pill to swallow. Sometimes if you're the Royals, some of their better. I'd say a good majority of their better prospects are in the early stages of the system. And like a lot of times, I know it sucks because sometimes it means you end up giving up a better player down the road. But it's easier to part with sometimes because they can't help you they can't even help you now. They can't help you for years, Gold. Blake Mitchell, because high school players and the way it all works, you know how this is, he's 3 years away from helping the Royals. And now he made it to AA, so maybe he's only 2 years away. Some of AA this year, start in AAA next year, maybe full year there. So maybe it's a year and a half, but it's still a little ways away at a position where they're pretty deep. And we don't know. We don't know how much longer Salvador Perez wants to continue to play after this contract. But, and I don't want them to give up Blake Mitchell necessarily. But it is really hard. I told you earlier, it's really hard to not convince yourself to buy. Because last year's playoffs and any other playoffs, hell, the 2014, if you're the Royals, proved the one thing that is very true about baseball that is not true about every sport except for hockey. It's not true about the NBA, and it's sure as hell not true about the NFL, which is if you are the last damn team in the dance, you can win the World Series. The Diamondbacks were a pretty mediocre team last year, and they were playing in late-game World Series games last year with a chance to win it. Did they? No. But were they playing in the World Series? Yes, and with their starting rotation specifically, with the Royals 1, 2, 3 of Lugo, Reagans, and Singer. If you just catch them hot for 2 weeks, anything could happen in the postseason.
Well, I love the rotation setup if they get in the wild card for the reasons you brought up. I think this weekend, though, also showed us – though, all right, you got the rotation. We know about the bullpen issues. They add Michael Lorenzen today. Hopefully they make another move, and Lorenzen we think will be in the rotation, but we'll get clarity on that. But the other part, Cody, is when, like most teams, when Bobby and Salvi are not hitting, which was the case yesterday. I mean, they didn't have a hit since the 4th inning when Fermin hit the home run. So that's all. I mean, it gets everybody's focusing on the bullpen.
Did they get Chick-fil-A sandwiches away for that one, by the way?
Oh, I don't know.
It didn't hit the foul pole.
You got me excited for a second.
Think about
there was Chick-fil-A sandwiches nearby.
No, Chick-fil-A. They were.
Oh, yeah.
If you hit the foul pole, everyone in the stadium gets a sandwich.
Is it everybody in the stadium?
But the Cubs fan caught it in front of the foul pole.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Controversy. No, I was just going to say, the focus on the bullpen and the issues have been there all year.
Yeah.
But the other part and why they're a flawed team, too, when Bobby and Salvi are not hitting, and nobody's saying they haven't been great. Of course, one guy's going to be a top 3 MVP getter. But they don't have anything else.
No.
And so that's the struggle that you have. And, in the postseason, if the Royals get in, as much as we talk about the rotation, I still don't think, even with the Michael Lorenzen acquisition, unless Alec Marsh turns into a great bullpen arm, I still don't think as of right this second the bullpen is good enough for them to have a run in the postseason. Now, look, they're ahead of schedule. Maybe just getting to the dance, obviously, is enough for a lot of people. And I think it's a massive win alone, if they just get in the postseason, it'd be an incredible year. They're already having an incredible year. But that's why I think still one more move needs to happen. So we'll see. Again, we'll hear from JJ later on. Text line said Chick-fil-A did end up giving out the sandwiches. They said they were still giving them away. So.
Honorable. That's honorable.
Yeah.
Because it has to hit the foul pole, and it was gonna.
Yeah.
The fans tried
Smart on Chick-fil-A. Why would you not? It's a great pub. Here we are. We're talking about them.
Yeah. I had no intention to mention the Freddie Fermin solo home run other than to say replay got it right in that case, absent the other thing. But, yeah, the pitching stuff, we can get into more than that here maybe a little bit. But, yeah, there are a couple of really known things about this Royals team, and this weekend kind of highlighted those things. You had mentioned before break that there's something the Chiefs are emphasizing in camp this year that I think really matters for our next guest when Jared Wiley comes and sit here. The Chiefs, we know the deep ball's the big thing, right? Oh, Tony to Mahomes. And I saw Bill Barnwell, so he'd be like asking Tony to catch 2 passes in a play, sicko behavior when you're talking about that. But I think it's pretty clear, based on the camp we've been up to already, the second biggest emphasis they're putting on right now is red zone. They know that they have to be significantly better. And what it seems like their plan is, what if we had a bunch of big, tall guys? Here's part of the problem. I can't believe them until they prove to me they'll actually do that. I have watched the Chiefs offense in the red zone for a decade under Andy Reid.
You're saying they're going to get cute.
Yes,
but
he's way more likely to do that than to just throw it to a big, tall guy.
Yeah, but I mean, look, when we say that, like, they're not just going to throw fade patterns at the worst freaking play at the 2-yard line.
No, I hate
crazy.
that play.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Use some of your size to box guys out.
You can be creative in that. We view it as being creative like they have in the past, as jet sweeps to Hardman or reverse pass or what. Being creative in the red zone can involve having 3 tight ends, and all of a sudden, Jared Wiley's got an unbelievable matchup with somebody in the red zone, right?
Some small corner.
That's how I envision them doing it.
I hope that they do it that way, but I've never seen them. Very rarely do they operate their offense in that way, Gold. They're more likely to give it to, what if somebody was 5'9", 180 pounds, and we found a way inside the 5-yard line to give it to him, than they are box out big man against small corner, throw it down the field. I like that they're exploring it. It seems like they're interested in using Wiley. They ran an entire red zone set with the first team the other day, and Justin Ross and Jared Wiley were both in on the play. They're like, what happens if people are tall? What happens if they're big? And you're like, other things. I mean, I like the idea of actually trying it, but it is definitively, we talk about this sometimes in sports where if I've seen enough of something, you're going to have to prove it to me before I'll believe it.
That's fair. And
with the Chiefs in the red zone, I'll just be honest. I'm not going to believe that you're going to toss one to Jared Wiley down there until you prove you're willing to throw to a big man. Now, they did throw to Jody Fortson a little bit.
They did.
He
couldn't stay healthy, and so we know they like being able to have that secondary tight end that can be a great receiving option. And even if Wiley's going to be further down the depth chart, I think his ability in the red zone is where if he's going to have a good season and where everybody's excited, it's going to be in the red zone. I just in the middle of the field, how often are we going to see Wiley? That remains to be seen, in my opinion. But down in the red zone, certainly when you're inside the 10, inside the 5, I think that's where maybe he could thrive as a rookie. Now, long term, maybe he develops into something far more than that. Nobody's saying he can't. But initially, he's not having 500 yards this year. Now, could he have 5 touchdowns? Yeah, I think there's a chance, and that would be great.
When we went back to that initial conversation, when I told you I thought he could have a more impactful year, that's kind of what I meant. I didn't mean he was just going to out yardage Xavier Worthy or out yardage Noah Gray, who got himself up to 450 yards last year.
I think you kind of know what Noah Gray is.
Yeah, and look, Noah Gray, most people will settle in. That's a nice, solid tight end, too, in the NFL. You don't really complain about it. No real complaint. It's like, cool, that works, just as long as you're not anticipating him turning into Travis Kelce. And look, I know there'll always be some fan, and I saw, a week ago, someone was like, tell me he doesn't look like Kelce Jr. I'm like, relax.
Same size.
Yeah, but I mean.
Long way. We're talking about a Hall of Fame. Maybe the greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes.
I'm just saying, relax a little, okay? But I'm not saying he can't. It's just like
stylistically, I get the comps when we watch him out here running routes, and
moves
you see
that way.
He definitely. I mean, the presence is there. That reminds you. I get it.
But he's going to have to prove that he can do that. And the other thing that we always it's like nobody knows the defense better than Travis Kelce knows how to manipulate where he is better than anyone else. It's easy in a shortened T-shirt. I'll be honest, to get open against a corner on a break route. It is, because you're not having to, guess what they're doing. You already know what they're doing. You already know what you're supposed to do. Some of, the best players, the best tight ends specifically in the NFL, have a feel for when to zig when somebody else is zagging, even if that's not necessarily the job. Because you have a lot more options at that position than you do at wide receiver, where they give you more flexibility that is, if this guy lines up here, you need to go there, and if that guy lines up there, you need to go here, and you've got to be able to read that in real time. It's easier said than done, I think, a lot of times, and that's where we kind of create that challenge. I hope that they kind of go have a couple of big sets in the red zone this year, because it's like the one thing that they haven't done consistently that they have the talent for this year. I don't want you to ever just, like, use the talent you don't have, but you've got the talent for it. Like, I understand you can make the argument for what if we just spread everyone out with Tony and McColl and let some guy beat someone to an edge on a mismatch, but you also have size. Why not see if it works? Especially early in the season when you're still trying to figure out what your new look offense is.
Now, we have Q producing for us this week because, as you guys know, Drew was out of town. He's at the beach, saw some photos, very jealous, looks really nice. And a training camp ago, Q was our intern. And when we were up at camp, he had Q's. So we thought for this week at least, we'd go throwback a little bit. Does Q have some camp questions? Q's ready to go? And actually, don't worry about it because
have some,
I hate
some
to do this.
Q's ready to go.
I hate to do this to you, Q. I hate to do this to you, buddy. Jared Wiley's walking up right now, so we're gonna get to your Q's. It just all of a sudden the golf cart just came zooming by. So we will get. Right. We will get to.
We call this a tease.
That's right. It's just a tease. We'll have an opportunity for you to have us with the camp questions in just a little bit. But we do have Jared Wiley getting ready to join us here from Chiefs training camp here on 610 Sports Radio. And our conversations with Chiefs players during training camp are brought to you by the St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau. You can plan your trip today as practice wrapped up just a few moments ago. And we do have Jared Wiley joining us from Chiefs training camp. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Good to have you on the show. I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you before. First camp, NFL experience. How things going so far?
It's been really good. I got a lot of help with a lot of the older guys here. Obviously Coach Melvin is a great tight ends coach. Coach Reed is a great head coach. Just trying to be a sponge right now and just soak up as much information and knowledge as I can. It's kind of the goal.
Andy, take it easy on you. It seems like he scheduled the 10-10-10 at the perfect time.
Yeah,
it's miserably hot outside.
Yeah. That after 3 really long, hard days was definitely needed.
Yeah, I was gonna say look, you played at Texas, you played at TCU as well, so I'm assuming you've had some camps, fall practices or something where the weather's been this bad as well.
Oh, this feels great out here.
This is nothing?
Yeah,
see, that's the mentality I guess you got to have.
At Texas we used to practice on the turf field. It'd be about 120 on the turf. It's still humid. We would practice at 1, 2 in the afternoon. It was brutal. Kind of a similar thing at TCU except for we were on grass. So. Whenever I come out here in the mornings and it's a little humid, but it's 85 degrees, I'm like, oh, this is great.
we're complaining over here. We're sitting under a tent. We're here till 2, though. I will say that. But you guys are running around, and here we are. So it puts things in perspective just a little bit. Also, earlier, my co-host Cody, we were talking about on Friday. He thought he broke his finger. We're like, he didn't break your finger. He went to an urgent care over a swollen finger.
Look, I've got a wife. Like, shouldn't that count for something? She wasn't going to let me just, keep being injured forever.
No, the fingers, though, I don't know if I can be with you on that one. Cause,
oh, wow.
A ball hits a receiver's finger weird, it'll break, or you just got to kind of pop it back into place, and you're good.
That's it. Just move on with my life?
The doctor didn't give him any advice.
I guess that's always it, right? Because you're a professional athlete. Your girlfriend, I think, is like a collegiate athlete. Would she be pro? I'm sorry.
Whoa, there you go.
I apologize. Last time I saw an interview, they were interviewing her as a college player, so that's my bad.
She just signed pro a couple months ago.
Okay, so you're both professional athletes. I'm guessing at some point, but if you've got something ailing you, doesn't she want you to make sure you go see the trainer?
Yeah, I don't. I don't really speak up on stuff like that, especially to her, because she's definitely. That kind of person who, you need to go get this looked at. You need to, if you're feeling sick, you need to talk to them. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I don't know if it's like a male thing or if it's I don't know what it is. But, she definitely wants me to go get stuff checked out.
Since you mentioned Texas and you played there, we a couple of weeks ago when NCAA football came out, we were talking about that the video games developers didn't let them put horns down. Should they have allowed it in the game? Not is it good or bad? Should they have allowed it in the game? As part of, college football.
If you look at, A&M's deal with the thumbs up, if you do thumbs down, did they put that in the game? If they did, then they should have let the horns down. I don't really have a say-so in it. I try to stay away from that as much as possible. So
what was that like so again, for those that don't know, you were at Texas, but ultimately at TCU as well. So what was that like? I don't know how much the rivalry is there between the two necessarily, but both were in the Big 12 last year. So at that point in time, was that a weird thing with teammates? Like with the people there at TCU, the horns down thing, was that something they enjoyed, and then you were mixed motions because you were at Texas prior?
No, we didn't. TCU, you never saw like the horns down or anything. I feel like that was more like, obviously like Oklahoma or like
Kansas did it once.
Yeah, West Virginia did it a couple times, but I mean, I never had like any issues with anybody from TCU, like talking about Texas or anything like that. I will say this though, it was especially that my first year at TCU, was definitely weird going back to Austin to play Texas. That was probably the weirdest I've ever felt, like going into a game or like a week or anything like that.
We're speaking to Chiefs tight end Jared Wiley. Earlier in practice, we saw quad pass. I don't know what it's called. Mahomes to Tony, back to Mahomes, back to Tony, then to Xavier Worthy. You played high school quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Or like, I've always been told you got to wait a few years before, like from players, you got to wait a few years before you ask Andy for a pass. But do you itch for the moment that you get to throw a pass in an NFL game?
I am very excited for the opportunity, but I'm not going to bring it up to anybody. I'm in no position
He knows.
right now.
He knows you played high school quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in no position to, go up to him and be like, hey, you should let me throw that. That's not. But whenever it does, if the time does come, it'll go about 70 yards. I'll launch it.
Is there? You've still got a pretty good arm.
Oh, yeah.
Were you a dual threat guy then? I guess I just think tight ends. You must have been like the running / passing quarterback.
Yeah. No, I was definitely dual threat.
Did you get opportunities to play? Like, could you have gone somewhere and played in college quarterback or?
No, not
okay.
really. Quarterback's a weird deal, especially coming out of high school. Like, if you want those big offers, you got to play like sophomore, junior, senior year. I just started my senior year at quarterback. Played tight end the year before that, and then like outside receiver, backup quarterback the year before that. So I was so all over the place that nobody, really got to, get a good look, I guess, at what I could do at quarterback. Kind of happy that's how it played out. I don't think I'd be here right now. So
yeah, I think they're set at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get your first invite to tight end U this year?
Yeah, I did. I had to. I couldn't go this year. Still moving into my apartment up here and just having to figure all that stuff out to try to get settled in. But I definitely plan on going next year.
How's Kansas City for you, though? I mean, you mentioned Austin, your time there. Like, what stood out about Kansas City? Have you found a spot or two or a type of food? Obviously, everybody asks about barbecue, but you had that in Texas as well.
Yeah. I mean, I like Kansas City a lot, to be honest with you. It kind of reminds me of Fort Worth a little bit. I loved Fort Worth whenever I was there. But, as far as, like, you kind of have downtown, but outside of downtown, it's open. It's not super crowded. Like, that's what I hated about Austin. It's so crowded everywhere you go. You got to go 45 minutes out of the city just to, have your own space. So I kind of related to Fort Worth in that aspect of things. And so, I think that's why I like it so much. As far as the food, yeah, I've tried a couple different barbecue spots. Q39 is probably my favorite right now. Other than that, though, I mean, I'm kind of basic whenever it comes to food. Like, I have a guy who does meal prep for me, stuff like that. So other than that, I mean, super basic with it.
This could be a chance for a fan to get to know you. Do you have any hobbies outside of football? We always like to ask, just in case there's like you could play piano for all we know.
No, I'm an avid video game player.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your game? What's your best game? Or give me a couple. That's fine.
So we got the easy ones like Call of Duty. Me and my friends from college, we play FIFA. We play MLB. Obviously NCAA is the hot one right now. Just stuff like that. I mean the list. I mean there's probably 40, 50 games that we'll get on and play. But yeah, we all really enjoy just being able to do that with each other and still getting to chop it up with your guys from back home and talk about all the stories like your old heads now.
Jared, appreciate it, man. We know you got to run, get inside, obviously, and welcome to Kansas City, and best of luck this season.
I appreciate it. You have a great day.
There you go. That's Jared Wiley, Chiefs rookie tight end here at Chiefs Training Camp. All our Chiefs player interviews brought to you by the St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau. You can plan your trip today. And, look, the high school quarterback thing comes up because anytime anybody wants to talk about Travis Kelce, that gets brought up. And I think that also has lent itself to the comparisons for for Wiley and Travis just a bit. But
Sure.
yeah, you asked about the pass or whatever. If we ever see him throw a pass, I'm guessing it's at least 2 years from now.
I'll say this: he's a big man.
He's 6'6". Every bit of 6'6".
He looks like he's in pretty good shape.
Well, yes, he's a professional
He also
athlete.
said, dude, it's a finger. If it breaks, you just pop it back into place and live your life.
Well, people on the text line were getting after you. They's like, your finger hurts and you went to the doctor. You know.
I waited 4 days. I didn't rush to the doctor the second it started hurting.
He did smile though when you said, I think you said quad pass, but triple pass or whatever it was. He started smiling because that's what Andy does too at camp as well. It keeps guys fresh and motivated and energized when you throw some fun. Throw some fun, they enjoyed that play.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. It's it just keeps you will that play work in a real game, Gold? I don't think so. I don't think Mahomes can throw it to Tony, who can throw it back to Mahomes, who can throw it back to Tony, who can throw it 60 yards down the field. It went that long, 40 yards down the field to Xavier Worthy. I don't think that play's going to work. I think some defensive lineman would probably get to you by then. A Bosa or something would find you by then.
Text line's mad at you and I right now.
Why?
They said we didn't give them a snow cone. They're mad at us.
Well, it was
spur of the moment. We don't
Jones?
know when they're coming. We didn't know. It kind of happened very quickly. Remember, we were going to go to Q's. That's how we weren't sure. We don't know when they're showing up. We're supposed to have them for 10 minutes. I don't know if we had them for 10 minutes or not. I felt like we weren't there for the full 10, but we were told to wrap up.
I apologize. Chris Jones, he hasn't come by since he's been on the out of practice with the groin injury. Maybe not working up quite the sweat. So I didn't think Chris Jones was going to come by today. And because he didn't come by, I didn't think about it. Plus, as you can imagine, as it is pretty toasty today, the line at the Kona ice stand is
a big day for them.
Quite long. And I didn't want to disrupt 20 customers from getting their ice. Had he asked, had Chris Jones come by and I got him a sno cone. But I did not get him one today.
Yeah, that's fine.
I apologize. It will have to wait until next time. We owe Jared Wiley one sno cone. Does that seem fair to you?
That's fair. I don't know if he even knows about him, so he wouldn't. I don't think he even knows he missed out.
He's a rookie. He doesn't know about the snow cones yet. That started 3 years ago or something. That was in the COVID year, I think we got him a snow cone. Because he was on the other side of the railing here. He wasn't even sitting at the table with us, remember? He was on the other side of the railing.
Someone says, tomorrow we should have a bowl of hot ramen noodles, not a snow cone. Well, no practice tomorrow. Our next day up here scheduled is Thursday, actually. We'll be back up here Thursday, and I imagine they'll be in pads at that point.
Can you imagine if we tried to give Chris a thermos full of hot soup?
That just sounds terrible.
Oh, God.
Sounds terrible right now.
I was just thinking about miserable. I'd rather cut off this finger than eat hot soup. This exact second, you got to try not to pass out, man. We got to stay hydrated.
We're already on bottle number 4.
Yeah.
Water bottle 4. I also brought, Drew kept telling us about the frog tog thing.
Yeah.
I bought a couple. They're in the cooler. We just got to pour cold water in the noon, 1 o'clock hour when we're really feeling it. It's only 11 o'clock, not even 11 o'clock yet. When we're really feeling it later. I was hoping Dusty was going to give us a good tease heading into the show. I was hoping he was going to say, the hottest ever edition of Cody and Gold.
It does feel right.
It is the hottest, and you could have taken that a million different ways, but it is the hottest edition of Cody and Gold, I think, officially.
It's got to be close because it's not going to be cool.
Someone says we should just get a tabletop snow cone maker. But our guys over at Kona Ice hook us up. We don't need the tabletop.
They always take care of us. They always offer us snow cones too. They're very nice.
Very nice. All right, guys. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Steve Spagnuolo. Expected to also hear from Creed Humphrey, Trent McDuffie, and we will eventually get to Q's. Very anticipated questions next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold.
Hey, Drew Nixon, that's just ugly, man.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 610 Sports Radio.
I know you see those big puddles in your parking lot where the potholes are abound. You don't need to keep doing it like that. Call Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Take care of your business the way you take care of your customers. One call to Gann for a streamlined project who can handle it all. Whether you got to strip the whole thing down, rebuild a whole parking lot, or just, do a coating, do a seal coating, do a drainage system, maybe some bumper blocks. It doesn't really matter which part of your parking lot project you need done. Gann does it all. They do every single part of the project from start until finish. I know you're like, oh, I got to take care of this thing, but how many calls am I going to have to make? One, singular, to Gann Asphalt and Concrete. You can see their work at GANNasphalt.com and see across the city all the different businesses they've worked for, apartment complexes, large-scale delivery businesses, small businesses like yours, just like here at Odyssey, right? That's what you need. A company who has been in the local area and is locally owned and operated for the last 30 years to handle your parking lot needs. The idea that one call, that's not a small favor. That's a big thing that can save you a lot of time and make sure that the front-facing part of your business, your parking lot, looks as good as the service that you've been offering. Like I said, they've been serving the local community and owned locally for the last 30 years. Go to GANNasphalt.com and see what they can do for you.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Men, when addressing the problem of erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific medical situation, because every case is different, and finding the right treatment can mean the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and at our practices, we offer the full range of ED treatment protocols, and can even combine therapies to help make those intimate moments special, both for you and your partner. At Heartland Men's Health, we take great pride in providing excellent care and treatment options for ED. Our medical providers specialize in men's sexual health and understand that no two cases are alike, which means you'll get the right treatment for you based on sound medical evaluation and appropriate applications of medical therapies. Plus, we offer treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most men, you'll get your sex life back. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton and soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to sign up and start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and older and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
People of Kansas City, listen up. I have unprecedented breaking news. Today, Thermo King Windows is offering 3 glasses of ice-cold lemonade on this hot summer day for the price of 2.
Bob is speaking figuratively here. This is not really an offer of lemonade or any other refreshing drink.
Thank you, disclaimer guy. The point is this. When you buy Thermo King replacement windows, they will upgrade you from regular double glass windows to their super premium triple glass windows at no additional cost. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers from the hot Kansas City sun than regular double glass windows. And with thousands of 5-star Google reviews...
Yeah, Thermo King hasn't actually counted the number of 5-star reviews, but there are a lot.
Again, thank you, disclaimer guy. With more 5-star reviews than we've had time to count, Thermo King Windows will make your replacement window process easy and hassle-free. For your free window consultation and estimate, call 888-KING-WIN or go to thermokingwindows.com. homestandaros.com.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites, go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Did you know that you can watch Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or Facebook? This way you can see the look on Alex's face when Cody starts singing Pasquantino live. What? 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Back here in St. Joe, Cody and Gold live at Chiefs training camp, which practice wrapped up a couple minutes ago. Thanks again to Jared Wiley for joining us, Chiefs rookie tight end. I see a lot of excitement around what he can do. Also got to know him a little bit. Turns out, big gamer, man. Big gamer, Call of Duty, college football as well.
You got to get his tag, Gold, so you guys should do a little battle.
Should ask for the gamer tag. Should ask for the gamer tag. Our training camp coverage presented by Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. Here in about 25 minutes, Chiefs Red Half Hour, we will hear from Trent McDuffie and Creed Humphrey. Going to hear from Spags in just a second. And then we'll get to Q's, as those were cut short, so we didn't get started with the timing, everything. One update, we're going to hear from J.J. Piccolo in the noon hour today. The Royals, if you're just joining us, make their first trade since the Hunter Harvey move, acquiring Michael Lorenzen from the Rangers in exchange for Walter Pennington. So we'll get back to the Royals in a little while. But J.J. Piccolo did say that John Schreiber is likely to go on the IL. That could happen today. And then Michael Lorenzen would not report, though, until later in the week. So you could see a corresponding move today and then another one in a few days. So just a heads up on that. And also, he said Lorenzen's role is still to be determined.
Ooh, a little TBD, huh?
Which is interesting, being the fact that he's a starter, has been a reliever before, currently a starter with the Rangers. So do they move? Does they just slot him into the bullpen, or they move March to the bullpen? That's what we don't know, and it sounds like,
or do they trade
publicly,
a starter and then?
I think maybe they want to see what happens at the deadline.
What if they traded Marsh?
Well, I think they might want to see what happens by the deadline tomorrow. I don't think this was the last move they make. I think whether it's a corner outfield or another bullpen arm on top of it, the injuries forced their hand. I don't know if we'll ever get the clear answer of, hey, would you have made the Michael Lorenzen trade if the injuries didn't happen?
If Hunter Harvey didn't leave early and Schreiber went to the IL?
Yeah, like what? Yeah. Maybe they had targeted Lorenzen the whole time, and this was the move they were always going to make. But was this the move they made because of the injury, and then there's still another move? That's what I would love to find out. We'll actually have Piccolo on the show Wednesday, post-trade deadline, as well. But let's talk some Chiefs football and hear from the Chiefs defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, who's been trying some different pieces at the cornerback spot this year.
It was the second day of the day we had the short yardage goal line. But I thought the guys stepped it up after that, after we challenged them in meetings. And then today was the 10-10-10, so it was kind of more execution and mental. we got a long way to go. We got a lot of guys banged up, so we're kind of working through that. But with that, I'll just open it up, fire away.
There's been every day a different defensive leader. You know, yesterday Drew was kind of chippy and getting into it. George has had a day. Nick has had a day. Is that just something that this defense does, or?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that's a thread of all defenses. I'm certainly hoping it's a thread of ours. I don't think there's anything wrong with being chippy as long as we remember that we're all on the same team and that there's some respect there. And I think our guys handle that pretty good. I mean, we didn't get no fisticuffs yet, right? So nobody wants to encourage that. But listen, the game's physical, and the one thing we have conveyed to them is, you know, especially the vets, like when you add up the number of plays they get in the 3 preseason games, I don't know, let's say it's 35 to 50, but you might be a DB that never gets to make a tackle. You know, so some way you got to work on it, and to me it's out here when you have pads on, and so we do what we call wrap and release, and that kind of maybe leads to some of that. But I think the offensive guys have been good about it.
Does that kind of go with Nick? I know it's there that you are preaching right now, no on and off switches always.
Yeah.
Does that kind of go with that?
Yeah, he knows that picture that I put up. It has the, you know, the switch has an on that plate and an off. Well, the off's crossed out. And they know when they step on the field. I mean, that's how you have to play. I mean, when you take plays off, we don't get enough of them. We have a lot of walkthroughs. So the reps that we do get in the morning, we got to take advantage of, and they got to be full speed.
What kind of progress you've seen from Felix?
Felix? Yeah, I think Felix has gotten a little bit better every day. I think there was a couple practices there he struggled a little bit. I think his confidence is better. The last 2 days he's been pretty good. Like today, I thought he made. Yesterday and today, I thought he did pretty good without watching the tape. I thought he had some good plays.
Your top 3 linebackers, Bolton, Tranquil, and then Leo. Just role-wise, how do you kind of see them this year?
Yeah, I mean, look, those are our base linebackers. Those are the 3. Then we try to get them in, mix them in there sometimes, and you know, other downs and distances, possible third down. I think all 3 of those guys have certain skill sets that we would like to use. You know, get them out there. Now, when you got 3 linebackers in there, you know, somebody's coming out. There's one less DB or there's one less D lineman. So we got to work our way through that. But one of the things we do like being is multiple. And when guys can play different positions, like Leo, he's kind of all over the place. Drew is, you know, and Drew's got to play some Mike linebacker. And yeah, you get to about next week. I talked about it with the staff the other day. You got to start thinking about guys in dual roles now, because pretty soon it's not whatever the number is out there, 90. You know, it's not 90 guys anymore, and all of a sudden our number of guys shrinks. So guys are going to have dual responsibilities.
There's a couple of corners who are hurt right now, so Kelvin Joseph's getting a pretty good run. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Kelvin, I don't know if you know, he had a baby, so he was gone for a little bit. We lost him there, so he was a little bit behind. He's playing catch-up now. He's getting some work with the ones. He made a couple of plays yesterday, so he earned that. But he's going to be right in the thick of the things with the other corner. I mean, you need 3 of them, and he's made enough plays, I think, to warrant working with that first group.
With Drew, Travis specifically, I know last year that him and Nick were sharing the field together all that frequently. How do you see the dynamic of them both?
You're saying sharing the field out here?
Yeah, just Drew and Nick.
Yeah, listen, the one thing about both those guys is they're both very cerebral, very smart. So I think they feed off each other that way. That goes a long way when I'll bet if you ask D linemen, they'd tell you that they appreciate the guys that are behind them are really sharp. You know, they're ahead of things. You know, watch out for this motion, watch out for that shift. They change a D lineman here. And when you got 2 guys can do that instead of just one, I think it makes everything go a little bit like that. And I think the rest of the defense knows that about those 2 guys and really rely on them. I mean, I'll watch DBs go over and ask Drew and Nick questions about it. It might even be playing DB or something in the defense because they know that those 2 guys know exactly what's going on.
Seems like Brian Cook has had a pretty good camp.
Yeah, we missed him when he got hurt last year. But the one thing about Brian is he goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He'll tell you he was a little bit rusty getting back into it, but I think it's kind of smoothing out for him right now.
Let's wrap it up. We'll start with Saran and then go over that.
Is it important, you know, I know you're trying to replace Legarius and talk about how tough that is and everything, but you want a 1 and a 2 and a 3, or do you see a scenario where maybe your depth comes into play and it could be matchup driven as to who's that 3, or is it important to have kind of that pecking order of where guys are?
Well, we know who our number 1 is, right? We all know that. And we're just trying to find guys, and we're going to have to find our next 2 best players. however that works out. I mean, we know NJ Nazi's dealing with his little injury right now. Josh has been out there. Kelvin, there's a lot of guys mixing in there, but somebody's got to surface, and if not, it gets tough. You know, you can have the best pass rush in the world, but these receivers get open quick if you're not able to cover them. So we got some developing to do. We certainly miss LJ, but somebody's got to step up there and take that play. I'm waiting for somebody to, you know, assert themselves and say that, you know, I'm that guy that can do it. Nah, we got a little ways to go on that, in my opinion. Yeah.
When you were telling the guys about having one of the best defenses in the league and then having a disappointing year the next year,
yeah.
Did you want to see? Are you seeing what you wanted to see? That fire, that chippiness, and what are other things you want to see?
I would say yes on that. I know what you're talking about because I conveyed that to them. I mean, look, we all learn from experiences, and I'm always sharing that with them. And so that was an experience that I went through, and my promise to them was I was going to do everything I could to make sure that didn't happen again. And that kind of began with how we operate and practice. That's the on-off switch, which we've always had. But I just wanted them to realize that just because you can't sit on what you did last year, it doesn't automatically happen. And we got a lot of work to do. Got some. We're talking about players we got to fill in for, and we got a long way to go before we figure that part out.
Trent is so good at just about everything, Steve. Is this
Yeah.
a period?
It's a good statement.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a true statement.
Is this a period or a time where you're asking him to be more aggressive in terms of what you mentioned, you know, the last time we talked to you about takeaways, trying to get your hands on the ball?
Trent in particular, you said? Or, yeah. He's got a natural feel for all that. And, I mean, look, he's waiting for his first NFL interception, right? I mean, but I told him this before. You know, he got voted – when did he get voted All-Pro? By his peers last year. I thought that was the hugest compliment to a DB that did not have an interception, because that tells you all you need to know. So to your point, he does a lot of things really good, and I'll guarantee you he's got his eyeballs on trying to get a couple of picks this year. But the other thing he does a really good job of is he's created some fumbles by having a knack for getting it out. We need all of that from all those guys.
What's the value of these 10-10-10 days for you?
Yeah, more mental than anything. I think we went 3 straight days with pads, and I think Coach Reed would tell you the same thing. It's a good way to get a lot of work done, right, but take a little bit of the physicality off it. It was about time with our guys, and now they'll have the day off, and I think it works out pretty good. Yeah. It's a little agonizing for me sometimes because you can't do anything physically.
All right, so that was Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. A couple things stood out. You know, I think he was pretty honest about the number 2 cornerback spot right now, that they're truly waiting for someone to be like, no, this is my job. It's very early in camp, and they are banged up, right? I mean, Jalen Watson hasn't even practiced yet because he's coming off an injury, and he's somebody that I think if he was fully healthy, we'd be talking about having a legit chance to be the number 2 right out of camp.
Probably.
Then you got Joshua Williams, who's actually been healthy. He's been the most available. And then you have Najee Johnson, who unfortunately keeps having some injury issues, which is concerning. And then you mentioned Kelvin Joseph, who comes over for the Cowboys. He's actually, you and I pointed this out off air. He isn't a name people really know. He's usually the first guy out here.
Pretty consistently.
And
usually working out.
You know, he's probably more of a long shot to win the 2 job. But right now, when Watson's not available and Josh Williams hasn't had a stranglehold on the number 2 cornerback spot, I think that is worth watching as the camp goes on. We know number 1 corner, you got as good as it gets in Trent McDuffie. But someone's going to be the 2. You lose Snead, and right now it's not clear. It's still not clear.
No, and that's the one, in my opinion, remaining serious battle. I still think they could choose between Wanye and Kingsley, but I think the fact that Kingsley's already getting reps, as many reps at the 1, always made me feel like they were just kind of handicapping it towards the other one. The other one that stood out was really early in the interview. Not exactly a ringing endorsement of Felix Anudike-Uzomah.
He's getting better and better each day. You know,
yeah, but he was like, you know, he's like, he was struggling there for a little bit, and he's like, he's had a good couple of days. He didn't make it sound like he wasn't glowing. Does that make sense?
Oh, well, yeah.
He had a good couple of days. His confidence is better, which means that was a problem before, where when he was struggling, he was unable to kind of like get past that mental hurdle of the confidence. So it's just, to me, I just keep trying to put in reasonable expectations for Felix Anudike-Uzomah. You and I have talked a lot about this. And for me, this year, it's like a couple of sacks and increased playing time, increased plays where I notice you. I don't need to supercharge his development because he was a project player to start. It appears he will continue to be a project player. But I do want to see improvement. If you're the same, then you've gone nowhere. And now we're really starting to talk about the lack of value they're getting out of that pick versus show me that you're heading in a direction, which it sounds like Spags is giving him the compliment on, and then we can keep feel like the progress is being made.
And then Spags was asked about Trent McDuffie and acknowledging, I mean, he's one of the best corners in football, does so many things well, and yet he still doesn't have that interception. And that's why I think that's why he's not listed as number one. Now, Spags thought it was a compliment that he was an all-pro without having a pick.
It is.
And it's because nobody's throwing his direction. He's locked down. You would think this is the year where he finally
He's
gets
had
his
a couple
first,
near his hands,
he
though,
gets
man.
his first pick. If we have a chance to talk to him during camp, I'd love to get his perspective because he's already one of the best corners in football, and yet the interceptions haven't been there. And I think from afar, if you're not in the city of the player that we're talking about, you're like, oh, he doesn't have any picks. Whereas they look at Sauce Gardner, who I don't know what he had last year, 5 or whatever. That stands out more. But it's because people aren't throwing his direction, and we'll see. And that's where the number 2 cornerback is vital because you need not to have a liability on the other side of the field.
And he did point out correctly, by the way, which is missed, I think, consistently sometimes, which is he gets fumbles.
Oh, yeah.
He does force turnovers.
Was that him in the Dolphins game, or was that somebody
Generally
else?
speaking, it was him in the Tyreek Hill play.
Yeah, he popped
for
the
sure.
ball out. Yeah.
It was him on that one. Interceptions for, now I wanted to look it up, for Sauce Gardner, huh? He has 2 career.
That's it?
That's it.
What about the other guys at the top that people put over?
He has 2 career interceptions. He doesn't have 700. He had 2 his rookie year, and in 16 games last year,
Nothing.
0.
There you go.
0.
Even better.
Look, they just the NFL's figured it out. If you're not worth throwing at, then why the hell would I throw at you? I think that's really what we're talking about here, is that if it's not worth throwing in your direction, I'm just going to ignore you. Patrick Mahomes said in practice he doesn't test Trent McDuffie a lot. It was probably 4 days ago. He had his media availability goal, and he was talking about Trent McDuffie. He's like, well, I don't go over there and test him very often. In practice, at a time where Patrick Mahomes has openly admitted he likes to try things he should never try in a game to find out what he's capable of getting away with. Even he's like, well, I'm not going to get away with throwing at McDuffie, so why waste my time? That's the highest compliment you can hear. And so, yeah, I don't worry about McDuffie at all. I don't care if he finishes his career with 0 picks. He is an outstanding corner right now.
He's one of the players, we know the current core for many, many years, it's Jones, it's Mahomes, it's Kelsey. But if you got a kid and you're trying to buy a jersey for the next player that's going to be here, hopefully, for 5+ years after this, McDuffie's the number 1 answer to that, right? I'm not saying you don't have other favorite players but if you're talking about longevity and you already have a Jones or a Kelsey or Mahomes jersey, is there anybody else? McDuffie's the answer of the guy that you would buy. If you're just talking about in the sense of buying a jersey, who's going to be here, going to be a mainstay. I understand it's a center, and there's plenty of. He has more center jerseys I feel like out there than many other center in football, other than
Kelsey.
when Jason Kelsey was around. And I think Creed is good is part of that reason as well. But yeah, I mean, Trent McDuffie's really the only answer. Right now, if you're saying whether a jersey or if you collect memorabilia and you already have your Kelsey, Mahomes, and Jones, McDuffie's the next player.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's part of multiple championships, and he is one of the, I think, inarguably 3 best corners in the NFL. I'd make an argument for number 1. I think you can make an argument for number 1, but he is assuredly one of the top corners in the entire league. So, yeah, it stands out on that end, and it's going to continue to stand out. You had mentioned something about the Royals a couple of minutes ago. We're getting back to the trade. The Royals did make a trade for Michael Lorenzen. We'll get you some cuts from what J.J. Piccolo had to say about it, including what you said, which was TBD on the old roll for Michael Lorenzen. But this weekend, it was a frustrating weekend, right? Because they swept the White Sox, and then they had chances to win each of the last 2 series and were unable to do so, including that game yesterday. In both games, it was right there, and then just let them get out of hand. Pinch hit, grand slam, and then last night they let the innings get away.
But also no hits since the 4th inning.
And and what you said, no hits after the 4th inning. All of those things where it really factors in. But God, it was just I know that this is, maybe I'm saying something that we all know. I don't want to say for sure. Maybe we're just all saying something gold that I know. But it was, as much as I want to be mad at the bullpen, because the bullpen stunk over the weekend, and it seemed like it cost them some games. The truth is, I was more mad at their rotation than anything else. More than the offense, more than the bullpen, because that's how they win. That's how they win. And Reagans couldn't get out without letting up 4 runs yesterday. The start before, Lugo put 3 men on base before he exited the game, ended up giving up 6 earned runs. Singer was great, but I was more mad at the rotation than anything else. Marsh struck, whatever it is,
I hear you.
They're the way to win. And so, I want to be mad at the bullpen, but in the end, if the rotation's going to let him down, especially Reagans and Lugo are going to let him down, then they're not going to win a lot of games anyway. Not those type of games.
I hear you. I mean, look, they're in the spot that they're in because of the rotation. That's why we're talking about a team that is a wild card team right now in the thick of that race and will be in the thick of the race ultimately because of the rotation. And so I hear you. It wasn't the best of outings, and that's going to be something to watch the back half of the season anyway because of the innings. But the bullpen also leads you to feel like you have to have your starters go much longer, right? I mean, the bullpen has been an issue the entire season. It's more magnified.
It's putting more pressure on them. But also
it's more magnified right now because of the fact that you haven't had as great of outings from Reagans or Lugo. And so when you have the necessity to go after bullpen for 4 innings if you're the opponent instead of 3 innings or whatever, then it's going to be easier with the issues that they have. And look, the 2 players in the offense, when they're not on, it's a problem. It's pretty clear. Yeah. Bobby is going to be an MVP finalist. Salvador Perez is clutch as it comes. But they were off this weekend, specifically Sunday, but Saturday and Sunday. And so you couple it perfect storm, you're going to lose games, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. Now they get the White Sox again. Let's hope the trend
the White Sox are back.
Let's hope the trend continues because other than the homestand games against the White Sox, it was not a good homestand. This team has been very good at home, but they were terrible.
They were, 500 at home for this homestand?
They swept the White Sox, beat the Diamondbacks once, and beat the Cubs once.
So they went 2-4 against those and 3-0. So they went 5-4. Yeah. So winning homestand. Come on now. Look, I understand it's disappointing because you won the first 3 games of the series, and when one of those
you don't get to play the White Sox more after this series. Aren't they done basically after this series?
They are done after this series. That stinks. No more White Sox, man. What a treat.
But it puts a ton of pressure on you now. Like they don't have to sweep them, but like they have to win the series against the White Sox.
Yes.
I mean,
I kind of want them to sweep them, but it's got to be a series win. Got to be a series win. There's no excuse. They are going to go down. The White Sox this year are going to go down statistically as one of the 5 worst teams in Major League Baseball history. They don't even have 30 wins yet, Gold. They don't even have 30 wins yet.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to get worse for them because before the Royals, I mean, they might trade Garrett Crochet here in the next 24 hours.
They're on a 14-game losing streak. Did you know that? The White Sox are on a 14-game losing streak. They haven't won in 2.5 weeks.
No, even more reason why you got to keep the dog down while it's down, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of make sense. At that point, there's no excuses. I understand it's not going to be the heat of your rotation. Part of me thinks you set it up that way. Mm-hmm. Part of me thinks you did the order in a way, like when they came out of the All-Star break and the order was a little bit funky. Part of me thinks they were looking at it and be like, let's get the worst starters in against the White Sox because we sure as hell don't need Reagans and Lugo carving them up. What good does that do us? We'd rather have those starters for somebody else. And so, it was a very frustrating homestand. It was just a good reminder that I know that it's like, but the starting pitchers carry them this entire way. I'm like, I understand, but they're going to have to keep doing that if this team's going to the playoffs.
We'll hear from JJ Piccolo in the noon hour. Up next, we continue broadcasting live from Chiefs training camp inside the Comcast Business Tent, powering possibilities. And up next, you're going to hear from Creed Humphrey and Trent McDuffie, who we just got done talking about a little bit. That's coming up here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win and no rake. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. Quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. Visit circusports.com for details.
Where can you find an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire? Metal by the Foot, located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Looking for a great job? Work at First Student. First Student is hiring school bus drivers in the Ray-Pec area. Earn up to $24 an hour and get a $3,500 signing bonus too. Great benefits and paid training. Apply now. Workatfirst.com.
If you're looking to buy or sell your home, contact the only agent I would trust if I was looking to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team. You can check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com. Go there right now. Enter your address, find out what your home is worth. And if you love it, contact Dawn Sharp and her team and let them get started for you. They have over 200 five-star Google and Zillow reviews, and her team spends thousands of marketing dollars every month to attract more buyers. So check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing. I get it. Pain from arthritis is terrible. You get that bone-on-bone constant pain. No one wants to go through that pain, right? But there are effective ways to deal with that pain. And we're not talking about drugs or surgery. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. And the place to go is pretty simple. It's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you that long-term relief with no downtime, no surgery, and no pain pills. Call QC Kinetics today and get started. It's the future of medicine. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Halftime means back-to-school shopping time at Target. Get your phones out, dads. We're saving 30% off.
Wow, look at this. Backpacks, clothes, shoes, at 30% off.
There's the pizza backpack my kid wants. Add to cart.
Oh, my daughter's gonna love this heart tee. Better grab some leggings, too.
Even notebooks, folders, pencils.
And glue sticks and crayons? All at 30% off this week only.
My sideline shopping game is strong.
When it comes to getting 30% off, Target has your back to school.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge, and your cashback match has inspired me.
Great. We love doubling the cashback you earn at the end of your first year.
I'm doubling everything now. I'm double dating. I'm double dipping.
Discover cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
We continue broadcasting here from Chiefs Training Camp, presented by Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. You can watch the stream as well on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
Wild arm movements.
You can keep an eye on us as well. We just refreshed, thanks to our friends over at Hy-Vee, for the ice-cold. Ice-cold bottle of water.
I could borderline do a water ad right now. Thanks, Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes
for this crisp, ice-cold water.
As cold, crisp, and clean and refreshing as this bottle of water right now. Let me tell you. No, so you can watch us on the stream.
I got to get the logo
out. Q's going to give us his camp questions because we didn't get to those here in about 10 minutes or so. But a couple members of the Chiefs did speak after practice, in addition to Jared Wiley, who joined us on set. Trent McDuffie and Creed Humphrey spoke. Let's hear from Trent McDuffie. We were talking a lot about him and the comments from Steve Spagnuolo. Let's hear from Trent McDuffie, who's now going to year 3 already with the Chiefs.
Honestly, I think it just goes back to the foundation that we built. You know what I mean? I mean, for me personally, being here the past 2 years, this defense has just consistently gotten better and better. And I think we're a group of guys that every day we come out to practice, every day we go into the meeting rooms, we have a purpose. And we're out there to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. You know what I mean? So I feel like the standard has been set. And I think having somebody like Coach Spags to really just lay the foundation from day one and say, this is what we're shooting for, this is what we're doing, I feel like everybody's bought in. And I think that's been the best part about being out here so far.
Was there a point last year where you knew how good you were going to be defensively, where you saw things coming together and said, okay, we're going to be the number 2 defense or whatever you guys ended up at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember last year me talking, but last year OTAs, I mean, that was when I first was like, whoa. I mean, coming from rookie year and then going to that spring, I was like, okay, things have been like a little different, you know, like something about the defense was clicking on all cylinders. And I feel like from that OTAs to going into training camp to the first game, I mean, every single game I felt like the defense just got better and better and better, and each player's got more comfortable and confident. So I saw that from a very early on time period that we were going to be really good.
What do you see in that regard this year?
I think the confidence has just become even more. I think that's the biggest thing for this defense out here is just we've gone through all the bumps and bruises. You know what I mean? We've worked back last year, losing some games and having to fight through playoffs and go to away games and the adversity. So coming back, I think the big thing for us is just welcoming these new guys in, you know, showing them this is the standard, this is how we practice, this is how we do things, the rookies, I mean, even the new guys that we just brought in. But I feel like everybody's really just honed it in and took it on the chin and just rolled with the punches.
Coach Spagnuolo reminded us of your all-pro season. Just coming off something like that, what is your personal emphasis on how to get better and grow even from the top of the game?
Yeah, I mean, last year, yeah, all-pro, but I feel like, I mean, I still was learning so much. I mean, last year was really my first time at the nickel position, and then this year, LJ leaving, moving to the outside, I mean, it's a different ball game, you know what I mean? Inside, you know, you got help here and there, you can do things a little differently, but on the outside, on the island, you got to be a technician. And coming into this camp knowing that I might have to do some more of that, it's been each and every day just working little by little on technique, and just trying to perfect myself out there. So still growing, still learning, and I feel like that's one thing that wakes me up every day.
Darius shut down some of the better receivers in the game. How willing and how vocal have you been about maybe doing that this year if called upon?
I mean, I told Spags, wherever he needs me, like I always said, that's where you can put me. Going against the best of the best, you know, that's why we play this game, to go against the best of the best. So being able to compete no matter who it's against, I'm ready to do that.
You're the best now in that leadership, I mean, in that, DB role. How much are you embracing that leadership role?
Yeah, man, I mean, I'm not somebody, you know, who's going to be that rah-rah, you know, leader, jump in front, yelling at everybody. But definitely just spending a little more time outside of meetings, outside of being on the field to get to know the guys, you know, to let them know about the little knickknacks that Coach Spags' playbook can have, you know, that I came in as a rookie and being like, yo, slow it down, you know what I mean? It's a big jump come from college to learn this playbook to coming out here, Coach Reed's training camps, the LDDs, that you're going to be tired, you're going to have your bumps and bruises. So just settle in, like, we're going to bring you up to speed. So just rely on us, and that's something that I've really been just trying to make myself do each and every day, is just making sure I tell the guys, like, it's going to be all right.
Guys don't talk about it. Guys don't talk about it a lot, but Chris and Nick both talk about how they worked on their mental, you know, in the offseason. How much have you done for that?
Man, it's huge. I mean, I'm someone who's big on just the mental side of everything, you know what I mean? Not just football, but just in life in general, because you never know how somebody's feeling at the end of the day. So going back to California, you know, seeing my family, seeing my little niece and nephew, and just being able to take that time to myself to just understand who I am again and just understand what I want for the rest of this year was huge for me.
Talking about Xavier Worthy and just the trouble he's going to give defenses.
Yeah, I mean, bright kid, you know what I mean? Coming in, humble, fast as hell, as everybody knows, you know what I mean? Can stretch that field definitely, but going against him, he's one of those dudes that you can just tell is just constantly learning, you know what I mean? You constantly see him talking to the coaches, talking to Pat, where he wants some ball, this and that, and the biggest thing for me is he's been catching the ball, you know what I mean? You love to see it. Guys come in here and want to run fast, want to run hard, but at the end of the day, it's catching the ball, and he's been one of those guys that's been consistent with that.
I want to ask you that. A couple of safeties. First of all, what are you seeing from Jaden and
Yeah, Jaden's doing great. You know what I mean? They got him playing a few different positions, which I know as a safety can be difficult learning this playbook, but he's asking all the right questions. You can tell each and every day he's coming in and taking notes and focusing in and trying to do everything the correct way, which you love to see on the back end because doing what he's doing is pretty difficult. So just seeing his growth from spring to now has been huge. So I'm excited for him. And then, you know, B. Cook, love the energy. I mean, you miss a guy like that out there that finishes every play. You know what I mean? You see him each and every play running down the field 80 yards to go tackle the ball carrier. One of those dudes that can go sideline to sideline. I mean, he's a vet. He came with me, you know, one of my good friends. So I'm excited for him to have a full year healthy.
Trent, what does a corner need to have in order to thrive in this scheme?
Man, it honestly comes back to knowing your responsibility on each and every play. Coach Baggs has a lot of plays in, and we do a lot of different things. You can be a cover 3 corner, cover 2 corner, cover 4. I mean, we have all the coverages. So knowing where your leverage is and knowing where your help is. And at the end of the day, I mean, Coach Baggs talks about it all the time. It's just disrupting the routes. You know what I mean? Getting your hands on the receivers and messing up that time is the best thing the corner can do in this defense. I mean, that's always been Jay Reed. You know what I mean?
With him being out right now, who's kind of the guy that, on a game like this when it's 86 degrees out there?
It's funny. I don't know if Jay Reed's a rah-rah guy, but I don't know if there's anybody that's going out there screaming, yelling. You know, I feel like our back end is everybody's kind of on a level playing field. You know what I mean? And everybody's able to be comfortable enough to speak up, to say, yo, a free agent can tell me, yo, man, you got to do this right, you got to do this right, and we all listen. So we're one of those guys that each and every day we're just helping each other. And, you know, when things are messing up, you know, I might speak up, B. Cook might speak up. I mean, each and every day somebody is coming in here and making sure that the standard is set. And that's something that you love to see. Yeah.
Thanks, Trent.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, that's Trent McDuffie entering his 3rd season, coming off an All-Pro, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. I thought, you know, he acknowledged something that we saw last year. So many times we would reference how Snead and McDuffie, but specifically Snead, fared against those number 1 wide receivers. And he, of course, doesn't know ultimately how they're going to utilize them. But, you know, will Spags consistently have McDuffie on the number 1 receiver?
My guess is that they will use him there more. Listen to him. He said last year was the first time he had played that much nickel, but that's because that's where they needed it. They needed his speed and his ability to limit it, and because they had Legere Snead on the outside to lock down all the number 1s, it made sense to put him in the nickel. This year, they're going to need someone who can go against those guys. So, look, modern NFL doesn't really allow you, Gold, to just, like, perfectly line up with someone all the time. You can't do it 100% of the time, but you can pretty much guarantee 50% of the snaps out of the number 1 guy to go up against Trent McDuffie. And because he's played the nickel, is used to playing the outside, and because he's your best corner, I hope so. Well, I don't know if that's crazy, but, like, yeah, I kind of hope so. I hope that that's how they use it.
I would imagine so, not to mention what we were discussing earlier with Spags' comments. I mean, right now they don't have the clear number 2. So, you know, that means that you are going to have, I think, progression throughout the year on who do you trust besides McDuffie. Like, I'm even talking about, like, hey, whoever the number 2 corner is going to be week 1. It's going to take time, I still think, for you to have a good feeling of, like, okay, that guy is always going to – nobody's saying the number 2 corner needs to be anywhere near McDuffie, and certainly is not going to be Trent McDuffie.
No.
But they have a really good track record in this organization with Spags as the defensive coordinator, Dave Merritt as the secondary coach, of progressing guys. And I still wonder –
Connor and Cook will be better. Spags talked about Cook a little bit.
And Jalen Watson is just not available right now. And so – whether that's later on in the season that he's available and he takes some time, like I think they have the answer somewhere there at number 2. I just don't think it's clear yet on who it's going to be, and it might be a point too where that rotates. You know, whoever gets the first crack at it out of the gate may not be the guy that's playing there in week 9. You know, it could rotate. I think they have a lot of depth there. Just who is ultimately going to stand out and be the guy that we can say is the number 2 corner for this team.
Yeah, and again, I'll say this. It is not a ringing endorsement, going back to a little bit what Spags said and what you're talking about the secondary now. It's not a ringing endorsement that Joshua Williams hasn't taken a stranglehold on a job that essentially he's not competing for. Does that make sense? Najee Johnson has missed some practices. Jalen Watson hasn't been healthy. Joshua Williams had all of last year to just, like, absolutely take that job and hold it forever because Jalen Watson was dealing with a labrum tear, take the number 3 job. and he couldn't just lock it down. So they're willing to move around. But I also think that's why they play Shamari Connor in the nickel. I think a lot of that, like, number 2 might be less snaps than we saw at number 2 last year, where Snead and McDuffie played 80-90% of every snap. And what it might end up having to be is McDuffie still plays 100% of the snaps, and instead of 70% for guy 2, it's 60, 50, 50, like it's more rotational, kind of like you do the defensive end, and you do it more matchup-based and freshness-based. I don't think that that's out of the question. They have good depth, and the safety depth makes it easier. They can cover their ass on the back end.
And eventually,
and their
Justin
sack
Reed,
numbers have always been good. All those things.
Yeah, eventually Justin Reed will be back. He's just not out there, as we know. Not expected to be out here throughout training camp and throughout the preseason.
It's like a little bit of a hitch in his giddy up, you'd say, wouldn't you? I'd say he's still not walking it like full.
Well, clearly. I mean, clearly something, because he's not even going to practice during camp. And it's going to be a bit.
Yeah, I think you should hope he's back by week 1 of the regular season. I don't think he's doing preseason either, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Let's go to the offensive side of the ball, and a guy we're all very familiar with in Kansas City, #Creed is good. Creed Humphrey, Chiefs starting center, who is in line for an extension. I thought maybe by now there would already have one.
Done.
I guess if it happens right before the season, it still could. Sometimes
they put him up today.
Sometimes that gap.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, and sometimes the gap between week 1 and the last preseason is when a deal gets done. But another year for Creed Humphrey, where now that Jason Kelsey's out of the league, I think it's pretty fair to say he's the best center in football. Here's what Creed had to say entering camp and entering this season.
It's great, getting to have him back, doing some group install stuff, some indie stuff. It's been good, and obviously he's a big-time leader for us. He has a ton of experience, and he's a heck of a player. So whenever you get a guy like that back, it's great.
Against the guys who've been replacing him up here, but what do you miss when you don't have a guy like that with his ability to experience in the lineup?
Yeah, well, I mean, experience is the biggest thing. He's done it all in the league. He's played in all the big games and everything, and he sees everything so well, and that's what makes him one of, if not the best guard in the league. So being able to have him back, it's going to be huge.
What do you do? I know there was some snap issues last week. What do you do in the offseason to try to correct that?
Yeah, just focus on technique and just getting the reps in, doing it after a workout when you're tired, things like that, so you can stay focused on the technique while you're doing it.
No joke. Talk about playing in this training camp heat and what you guys are doing to keep yourself healthy and prevent injuries.
Yeah, it's a lot of recovery after practice, a lot of rehydration, things like that. So the training staff does a great job. Strength staff does a great job. Nutrition staff, everybody does a great job with us, and getting us back to where we need to be for practice the next day.
What have you learned about this offensive line the last couple of days in pads? I know it's not a game, but what have you learned about this unit?
Yeah, we're still growing as one unit right now. We've added new pieces, and we're getting closer each day. So, as long as the guys continue to keep competing, battling, we're going to like the results for this year. So, for us right now, it's just taking it day by day and getting better every day.
With Kingsley and the rookie, obviously you came in and started right away. So can you give us the difficulty of learning the lingo aspect of it, getting up to speed, this group?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff thrown at you during training camp, especially as a rookie, and he's done a good job being able to process stuff, study on his own at night, things like that. He's done a good job, and he's picking up on stuff well. So for him, it's just continuing to get these reps, going against really good defensive ends right now. It's going to be really helpful for him. So it's been good, and he's getting better every day, and you can tell he's bought in and working hard to get better every day too.
I suppose some of that applies to the other two offensive linemen, Dorsad and Hansen. What are your impressions of them so far?
They've done great. They're awesome to be around. Same way with them. They're buying in how we need them to, and they've improved every day, and they show some great stuff, and it's been awesome to see so far.
It's only been a few months with Kingsley. Just what are some of the things behind the scenes that you might see him doing to make sure he has as best chance as possible?
Yeah, asking questions in meetings, staying sharp, staying locked in on meetings, things like that, and you can tell he has a instinct for the game. How he needs to play and how he needs to block, things like that. So as long as he keeps continuing to refine his techniques and stuff, like he has been, it's going to be really good for him. He's a great athlete. He has the right mindset to be great, so it's going to be good to see.
Last year you and Trey both had said your motto is set the tone. How often are you preaching that to those young guys?
Every day. Before practice every day, we have to let them know. So that's something that we focus on. Coming out here every day, setting the tone, making sure our guys are right, making sure we're ready to compete for the day. And so we preach that on them every day.
Our business side of the game, you're coming up on that last year. Get involved in negotiations? Do you ask for an extension? Has the team reached out to you about anything like that?
Yeah, right now, for me, I'm focused on training camp. I'm focused on football right now. Focused on getting this team to where it needs to be, and focused on getting the line where it needs to be, and getting myself to where I need to be. So that's my focus right now.
What was just the enjoyment or experience about playing guard last week in the Raiders? Is that something you wanted to do, maybe?
Yeah, when they originally asked me to do it, it was fun. I had a fun week, so it was a good time. Obviously, I'm more natural at center, just because I've a ton more reps at center. But it's fun, and being able to have the ability to play wherever you need to, it's good. So I had fun with it, and I'll if they ask me to do it again, I'd do it again. Yeah, it was fun, but I like center.
Guys, a couple more here. Creed, how are they feeding you guys at camp? I saw Rashid's Instagram the other day with you and Trey with the giant steak bones. How are they feeding the big boys here?
Good. They're doing it right. So, but yeah, the food's been great. They have a great option every night, so it's been easy to eat. And there's times also we'll sneak away and go get a burger or something. But it's been good though. The food's been great. Nutrition staff has done a great job.
Do you have any reaction to the little Raiders?
No. I'm focused on us right now. I'm focused on this team getting better. So, yeah. All right. Thank y'all for coming out.
All right, so that was Creed Humphrey. You didn't want any part of the Raiders stuff from last week.
I'm focused on us.
You didn't want any part of that. Couple things,
or his contract conversation.
So here's the difference. You guys notice when we've brought up Nick Bolton, and I've tried to make the point of it's not just the typical, I'm focused on football. Do you guys hear the difference? So when Creed Humphrey was asked about the contract, he said what? I'm just focused on football, which is the very standard, normal answer because he's letting his agent handle that. Versus the reason why I thought the Nick Bolton stuff stood out a month ago in the interview he gave.
He pretty much called it dead already.
He didn't say, I'm focused on football. He said, I'm not worrying about that. I'm not going to get a contract done until the offseason or worry about it until the off. Creed Humphrey didn't say, I don't want a contract until the offseason. He said, I'm focused on football. He gave the standard, what we hear time and time again, and then a contract still happens. Nick Bolton saying, I'll worry about that in the offseason. It's different. It is. It is way different.
Dramatically so. Creed was just avoiding any question that could be considered controversial.
Right.
In the sense that, hey, I'm not going to get into that. My agent's probably handling it, which he could say. That's the other standard answer. My agent will take care of that.
I still
if the deal
think
gets
Creed's
done,
getting
it gets done. I hope I get to. I do too. I'd still be surprised if he doesn't. I really would. I will say, I stood and I watched 30 solid seconds of Creed snapping the ball. Dead center of the chest every time. He's fixed. Problem solved.
Well, he said he put
Problem
in extra.
solved. I don't know what to tell you.
He put in extra work in the offseason rep-wise to take care of the snapping issues. And we've been consistent on this thing. It's pretty obvious. Like, snapping, you know why I'm not worried about it? If the team gives him an extension, they're not worried about it. They're not giving an extension to a center that can't snap. My guess is they work itself out. If there's no extension, then I would have more concern that they don't think the snapping thing can be fixed.
Yeah, we'd be having a very different conversation.
So, yeah, the snapping thing is not a big deal anymore.
I'm just telling you, I personally watched him. He's been scouted by me. Creed's fine.
Well, there you go.
The problem is solved, everybody. Creed snaps are not an issue anymore.
I don't think it will.
I mean, it was perfection. I mean, he was just firing it into Patrick Mahomes.
It was a late season thing. I want to see when it's a little colder, a little wet outside. That's what I want to see.
You want to see a little inclement weather, make sure that he's okay?
You know?
I do still think, although, again, I'm kind of with you in the sense that I kind of thought he'd have the deal by now, but a lot of other deals are still happening right now. So, he's not behind the rest of the contracts. I think if you're talking about preseason game 2 or 3 and he doesn't have a deal, we're having a very different conversation. Very different conversation where, my optimism on the deal before the year goes down. But they're not going to let everybody walk. Tooney's not under contract after a year or so. Jawan Taylor's got a year after this one, so he's got 2 years left on his deal. Trey's not under contract. They drafted Hunter Norton. But, they're not going to just start fresh offensive line-wide 2 years from now. I'm convinced Creed is the guy who's getting an extension. Maybe you and I are just way off base and we're blinded by Creed is good. But I just feel like he's getting a deal done. Everyone consensus thinks he's the best center in the league. Even with his snapping problems, people say that. So, it's not just us. That's what, people who know football well say.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get right back to the Royals. Their trade today, Michael Lorenzen, now a member of the Royals. They trade away Walter Pennington to the Rangers. Here's some of what J.J. Piccolo had to say about why they made this move and what role they see Lorenzen having. That's coming up in the noon hour. But we didn't get to it earlier because we had to move some things around. We've got Q producing for us back in the studio since Drew is out of town. And you guys remember when Q was an intern? We had Q's. So let's get to them.
I can't believe it has already been a year, but we're back again.
Year.
That's right.
You're not an intern. You're an employee now.
He is.
I'm an employee.
He is an official employee.
Yeah.
A huge salary at this point.
You're one of the first interns ever on this show. First and only. You and JT. Do we have other interns? We just had those two, right?
Just those two.
One of two.
There you go. All right, man.
All right, I've got 3 different ones I want to get to real quick. We're going to jump around the sports world a little bit. I want to first start off with the Olympics. The weirdest Olympic sport that I have found, and I'm wondering if you guys have heard of this. It's called race walking.
Like mall walking? Like people that speed walk?
So men and women compete in this for a 20-kilometer course, which in freedom units is a hair over 12 and a half miles. The rules are very strict.
Damn,
12 and a half miles. If you have to keep both feet on the ground at once, okay?
Speed walking.
And your knee and the athlete's advanced leg cannot bend, and the leg must be straightened as the body passes over.
So the first time you put on a pair of skinny jeans,
like
you're walking like a penguin?
What are we doing?
That's a weird one. I saw
That
the race kayak one really interests me. Where for some reason, for no reason at all, they just jet them off of a ramp before they start the course. I can't figure out why that is necessary or why they have to do it. But.
Yeah, I mean, the surfing, just because it's in Tahiti, is really cool to watch.
I thought you were going to tell us about how Jason Tatum somehow, despite the fact he's an NBA champion and scores like 40 points a game, he couldn't get on the court.
Yeah, didn't even play a single minute for Steve Kerr and Team USA.
In this race walking, you if you have 3 infractions, you're disqualified. So there's somebody watching your legs as you're doing this for 12 and a half miles.
Okay, that sounds awful.
Yeah,
that sounds like a
the
really
next
boring
one
job.
that I wanted to go towards is what happened yesterday during the Royals and Cubs game. But I want to focus on Chicago as the all-star third baseman Isaac Paredes was traded to the Rays.
Hug watch.
I have never seen this in the major leagues before. I've watched Moneyball, and I have read reports that this happens in the minor leagues where guys will get traded in the middle of the game. But I've never actually seen this happen in the majors before.
Yeah, I've
seen
clips before on SportsCenter, right, mid-game, where someone gets traded. It's the first time I think I've seen it in a Royals game, even involving an opponent in a while. But it definitely happens around this time of the year. It's an awkward moment. All of a sudden, you were in the lineup, and then next thing you know, you're pulled from the game, and you're heading elsewhere in Morel's case or whatever. So
I guess, man, does the clubby just pack up your locker? Because in Paredes' case, they want him there right away. Like in the Royals trade case, they made a trade today. They said he's not going to report till Wednesday or Thursday. He was not available to pitch to you until that time anyway, so it kind of makes sense. But, if you're a position player, you might be in the lineup next day. Who packs up all your stuff?
I mean, unless it's your personal stuff, if it's anything Cubs-related, just leave it. You're done. You don't need them anymore. You're out.
That's true. But you got personal stuff in the locker. You know how that works.
Yeah.
My Q's for this is that the Cubs are sending them a pitching prospect.
Okay.
Why would you ever send a pitching prospect to the Rays? If the Rays call me asking for a pitching prospect,
they know something
you
don't know.
I know exactly. So I'm looking at all the analytics. I'm looking at all of his pitches, and I'm like, what do the Rays see that I don't? Because I'm not sending him.
Rays are willing to trade anybody, man. Randy Arozarena got traded as well. They're transactional. Their fans don't have the same attachment to players in Tampa because their fans don't show up to games, so it's way easier. It just is.
Yep.
It's way easier to move
Nobody
on.
cares about their players.
We are out of time. Q's.
We can get another Q in later.
Maybe the 1 o'clock hour, the final Q from Q. That's our Q's. Up next, we'll get to the noon hour, what's trending, and we will talk about the big trade today from the Royals and what it means. You'll hear from J.J. Piccolo next.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Don't forget to follow Cody and Gold on the Odyssey app so you can listen on demand to my terrific football takes throughout the year right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I know you see those big puddles in your parking lot where the potholes are abound. You don't need to keep doing it like that. Call GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Take care of your business the way you take care of your customers. One call to GAN for a streamlined project who can handle it all. Whether you got to strip the whole thing down, rebuild a whole parking lot, or just, do a coating, do a seal coating, do a drainage system, maybe some bumper blocks. It doesn't really matter which part of your parking lot project you need done. GAN does it all. They do every single part of the project from start until finish. I know you're like, oh, I got to take care of this thing, but how many calls am I going to have to make? One, singular, to GAN Asphalt and Concrete. You can see their work at GANNasphalt.com and see across the city all the different businesses they've worked for. Apartment complexes, large-scale delivery businesses, small businesses like yours, just like here at Odyssey, right? That's what you need. A company who has been in the local area and is locally owned and operated for the last 30 years to handle your parking lot needs. The idea that one call, that's not a small favor. That's a big thing that can save you a lot of time and make sure that the front-facing part of your business, your parking lot, looks as good as the service that you've been offering. Like I said, they've been serving the local community and owned locally for the last 30 years. Go to GANNasphalt.com and see what they can do for you.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all of your favorite sports. From basketball to badminton and soccer to swimming, FanDuel has it all. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob to sign up and start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here, and let me tell you about my friends over at Window World. 816-799-0820. It is hot in the Kansas City Metro. We are in the middle of the summer, and what I want to do is I want to help your home be more energy efficient and keeping the hot air out. In just over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in Kansas City. And right now, they're offering an incredible deal. They're giving you 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. What I love most is, aside from major holidays, they have somebody there answering your questions 7 days a week. So if you got a question right now, pick up the phone and call my friends over at Window World, get a free home estimate, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. They're the official window managed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have had the same team in place for 20 years, and that team wants to help you. 816-799-0820, Window World.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with
Do
you.
you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut to size. Because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better when cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone.
It restores your engine to, like, factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Kansas City, this is Royals manager Matt Quatrero. Catch Vern's On Deck show 1 hour before first pitch on your home for Royals baseball, 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Back here on Cody and Gold, live from Chiefs training camp. We'll get to what's trending in just a second. Just a reminder, our shows from Chiefs training camp are brought to you by our friends at Comcast. We're inside the Comcast business tent, powering possibilities. We're going to hear from JJ Piccolo in a couple of minutes to talk more about the Michael Lorenzen trade. And in fact, Q, if we've got what's trending, that's going to be number 1 on what's trending.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Well, it is that trade from the Rangers. The Royals do acquire Michael Lorenzen, excuse me. And when you look at the deal, I think we're going to talk more about it, but I think the injuries started to push
their
the
hand
issue
a little bit?
Yeah, like I don't know, would this trade have always have happened because they need bullpen help? Maybe. But Michael Lorenzen comes over. He posted a 3.81 ERA, 75 strikeouts, and 101 and 2/3 innings across 18 starts, 19 games for Texas. He is tied for most starts in the Rangers organization's 3rd in innings, 4th in strikeouts. And so the Royals give up Walter Pennington. He goes back. You guys might have recalled Pennington made his MLB debut this year. Cool story. In Colorado in front of his family. Then was sent down like the next day, I think it was, and has been on that option really ever since. So it's a half-season rental for Lorenzen, but I think they just had to have bullpen arm or a starter. We don't know what the role is going to be. We assume starter because he's only started for the Rangers, but maybe they have other plans.
Yeah, JJ Piccolo, who we'll talk about it, they said that it's still kind of to be determined. So maybe it could be more he's in the relief role and Alec Marsh stays in the starting rotation. We'll find out more as they get him in to the facility. Says they'll take till like Wednesday to report, according to JJ Piccolo. Next up on What's Trending, updates from training camp today. We are live up here in St. Joe. Still no Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Hollywood Brown, who are out with illness. Clyde Edwards-Helaire actually took to Twitter to say that it was PTSD related is why he had missed practice today. So hope out for Clyde that he starts to feel better with that. Some of the same injuries you'd expect over the weekend, though. Chris Jones did not practice. No Derek Nottie, but Joe Tooney did return to his first practice since being returned from the PUP list, which took place yesterday. Remember, he tore his pectoral muscle late in the season last year. Took him up until now to be cleared. Second he was cleared, he was in there at starting left guard for your Kansas City Chiefs.
The fact that he tried to give it a go last year, he
I
was
know,
torn
yeah.
pec. My goodness.
I just went to the doctor for one hurt finger.
Your finger was swollen.
It was painful, too.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
I was worried there was something like more troubling wrong, you know?
It was
I went to
swollen.
the doctor in case there was something worse.
And he was considering playing football with a pec, but just wasn't physically capable. It wasn't a pain tolerance thing. Physically was not capable of
Just
playing.
wasn't strong enough.
But he's back, luckily, in
Absolutely
a Chiefs
wild.
uniform at camp today. Next up on What's Trending, the Olympics going on. We were talking about that with Q at the end of the red half hour there. But current medal count, this might have changed in the last 20 minutes, I'll be honest. This is as of 20 minutes ago. The U.S. leads the way with 12 medals, but they're tied for 6th with 3 golds. And might have had a chance. You watched some gymnastics last night. That was on in prime time. And all-around finals coming up, on Wednesday, I think it is. And
Yeah, I
then
believe so.
some swimming finals as well. Plus Team USA men's basketball, really impressive win against Serbia. A competitive game in the first half, and then they blew them out in the second half. Kevin Durant was unstoppable.
Yeah, he was
unstoppable.
incredible. How about, by the way, South Sudan getting their first ever Olympic win? They gave the U.S. a run for their money in the warm-up games. Got their first ever Olympic win as a country. That was really cool to see the other day.
Well,
Next-
good. So I was going to say, I mean, it's been really impressive what they've just done with that whole program in South Sudan, and we'll see. This is South Sudan and Puerto Rico, I think, are part of the same group, along with Serbia and the U.S. So the U.S. already played the toughest opponent, though.
They did. And, look, South Sudan gave them a run for their money. They should still be happy with their performance no matter what. Next up on What's Trending, the NFL says it will allow 12 players on the field at one time in very specific circumstances. This comes with the new wrinkle of the kickoff rules being implemented, in which if there is too much trouble getting the ball down in the holding situation, they will allow one extra 12th man to be legal and to serve as the holder for kickoffs during windy games where the ball won't stay on the tee. They will not be able to participate in the play after.
Got to run off the
So,
field right after they kick.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not a big deal. The guy that holds the kick, he just runs after. But the rule change makes it to where there's more of an emphasis every guy you truly need on the field, and so it's kind of funny. Now, see, if you're Seattle, you're in trouble here. You've been calling yourself the 12th man. Now there's already a 12th man on the field at times.
Yeah.
So Seattle, it's screwed up. Their whole thing is
13th man on kickoffs.
their whole thing is ruined, just like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Who's the backup Chiefs 12th? That's the hard-hitting question we need. If
Who holds
it's
it?
too windy, well, the 12th. Who's the 12th man?
I don't know, Winchester or something. Did you just put some dude in there?
That'd be Ariza, wouldn't it? He's already used to holding.
Yeah, probably.
And he can't go down and tackle. You got to run off the field.
Yeah.
Can a fan do that? You're
Yeah,
the
can
12th
I do it?
man.
Ooh, sweet. I
You're
just
the,
get to hold the
you're
ball
the
on the tee?
12th man. The one time all year it's too windy and you
No.
need it, and
They
then you
would-
run off the field as quickly as possible.
Here's the problem. They wouldn't let you do it because of the one major issue, which is when a kicker was coming through with the level of power and force and
Oh.
speed they kick a ball. Dude, I get nervous. He's going to destroy my finger.
You're already out. Your finger's messed up, so you're out. You got bad fingers now. You're out. You can't. It's not even. You
I
can't
got
even,
one bad finger
You
and
can't
I'm
even
out?
do it. What if it's not good that day? You go to the doctor for the swollen
Play
finger.
through, man. Got to play through. I didn't miss any shows with my hurt finger.
You did not. You did not.
I made it. I'm here. I'm battling. Last Friday would have been the day. Feels better today than it did Friday.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Yeah, that rule change. We'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. We know the Chiefs are already pivoting to now just having Butker do the kickoffs like he always has instead of trying to have Justin Reed or anything like that. We know Reed's on the NFI list. So we'll get into that some more in just a bit. But let's talk about the trade the Royals made today. We mentioned in What's Trending, Michael Lorenzen acquired from the Texas Rangers, a one-player swap. The Royals send Walter Pennington to the Rangers. It sounds as if Michael Lorenzen, his role is still to be determined. And look, you can look at the numbers all we want, right? Last year was an all-star, has a 3.81 ERA, 18 starts this year through a
So he's been
no-hitter.
effective.
Through a no-no last year. Lefties hitting just 144 against him. Is he coming in to continue doing what he was with Texas, which is a starter? And if that's the case, well, then you would think Alec Marsh is going to the pen. If not, is Michael Lorenzen transitioning to the bullpen and just have another guy that can give you some increased innings? Maybe he makes a spot start if needed when the innings become a problem. I don't mind the trade at all. It's a half-season rental for a guy that was basically a career minor leaguer in Walter Pennington. He's not your top prospect or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised at some of the negative reaction to it. Like, I'm sorry. and this is not meant to be like a complete knock on him. Were you guys like head over heels in love with Walter Pennington and ready to let him come in and pitch the 7th or 8th or 9th inning, or did you think his next 4 years of control with the Royals were going to set the stage to a point that we couldn't even adjust? I mean, look, he's a 26-year-old guy who hasn't broken through yet. I mean, he's young enough that he still could have an impact for your team. That's fine. And I understand you're giving up control for someone now. Yeah, I want them to be good now. All they gave up was Walter Pennington. They gave up a 26-year-old, to this point, career minor leaguer. That's not something I'm going to fight over. Again, he's got velocity. There's a chance he could be a value to a team. He could be a value to this team. But I always look at this the same way. We've talked about this with, I think sometimes, the outfielders we've talked about a little bit when people were frustrated with Renfroe or frustrated with MJ is they've had a lot of, this bullpen has not been rock solid. They have had plenty of opportunities to just go with Walter Pennington and say, this is a better option. I understand that options are a part of this and control and all these other things. But they've had choices in the middle of a playoff hunt, which they are in, to go to Walter Pennington to see if he can get the out, and they never did. So, they weren't going to do that this year. So if Walter Pennington was going to factor into next year or 2 years from now, I got to be honest. I can find another 27-year-old unproven reliever and find out whether or not they can be good for me down the road. This is a great trade. I love this trade.
Look, I mean, I don't want to go as far oh my gosh, it's an incredible trade.
I don't know if they hit a home run, but I love the trade.
But, again, I don't know if I would say I love it, but also, what? Who cares? You gave up a career minor leaguer, so why not? Michael Lorenzen can help this year's team potentially make the postseason. I love the logic behind it, I guess I'll agree with you. I don't know if it's not let's not act like the player is an amazing asset they just acquired, but he's someone that can help them this year. They didn't really give anything up. That's a win, right? This is a trade that you should be able to make when your team's in a wild card hunt, maybe for some a divisional hunt.
I'll admit that they do not have the long track record that the teams who really do this well deserve and get for this. But lately, the last couple of years, since the Royals have changed the way that they teach pitching, and since they've brought in new pitching coaching and they got rid of Cal Eldred's ass, and they finally started to embrace modern baseball, modern pitching, stole the staff from a team who knows what they're doing, they have been better than most teams in baseball over the last couple of years and bringing in guys that are fringe or you're not sure and turning them into something. Cole Reagans was not, he did not cost that much. You gave up a rental reliever for Cole Reagans. Seth Lugo was on the market for anybody. He did not cost a terrible amount of money, and they have found a way to make those guys productive big league pitchers. Look, last year, Lorenzen wasn't good. He had a 5.51 ERA. You mentioned he threw a no-hitter. Oh, I'm sorry, he had a 4.18 ERA last year. He was bad after the trade. But that's the thing. He was perfectly good for a team that was working for him. Then he got traded to a new team that didn't utilize him the same way. I kind of think the Royals will get more out of him than what he's done in Texas so far this year because they've been good at that lately.
Yeah, they've been good at tweaking, right? Being able to tweak certain things that they've seen on film or in person, I guess. I mean, maybe they've had people scouting in person as well for him. So that's true, and certainly Texas in its own right.
So they could have just seen him then.
Yeah, and we know, of course, last time they traded for Texas pitcher, it worked out pretty damn well. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it plays out. But you definitely can't, to me, I don't think, hate on the trade considering what you gave up. J.J. Picollo did speak a little bit earlier today. Q, if we have that ready, let me know. J.J. Picollo did hold a little bit of media availability. He's actually going to join us on the show Wednesday, post-trade deadline. We'll see. I hope that they've got another move up their sleeve. I think they do. Here's some of what J.J. Picollo had to say about acquiring Michael Lorenzen and setting up for the deadline tomorrow.
No, I just want to start off by saying thank you to Walter Pennington. I think you all know what a great story he has been for our organization. I think it's a testament to our scouting department, player development, and Walter himself for putting all the hard work he put in to reach the major leagues this year. And we wish him nothing but the best. And on the other side of it, we're happy that we've been able to acquire a veteran pitcher for us that we think can help us in a lot of different ways, a lot of great experiences throughout his career. And we thought he was a good fit, especially in light of, some of the things that happened yesterday and how fragile this season can be. So we had an opportunity last night to dig a little bit deeper with the Rangers, and we're able to capitalize on him being available. So we're happy Michael's going to be a Royal.
Hey, JJ, do you know the role for Michael right now? Is he going to be in the rotation?
Still to be determined. You know, we still have to get a handle on what's going on with Schreiber. We feel fine about Hunter Harvey, but we got to see how he feels today. But it's to be determined. We know he started this year. He's thrown in relief. He's filled both roles. So in a lot of ways, he is very, very good insurance for us, regardless of what his role. And we think it'll just play out in time.
And when do you expect? I mean, the Schreiber news. You think you might hear something more? Is that
yeah? Well, I mean, he's very likely to go on the IL. We're going to see how he feels. He's getting an MRI this morning. We'll see how he feels and what the doctors say. But we expect him to go on the IL. How long it'll be is really to be determined. But with Hunter, we feel like it's probably day to day with him.
JJ, did this come together pretty quickly then, right after the game yesterday, based on what happened?
Yeah, we had been talking to the Rangers about Lorenzen, and they were, you know, their past week was going to determine what direction they went in. I don't want to speak for them, but I think it's pretty well known that they have some arms coming back off the IL here very shortly, and they're competing to get in the playoffs. So when they officially made him available, that's when the talks picked up, and it just coincidentally was last night, which was good timing for us. And it was just something we felt like we needed to act on pretty quickly, because if he's out on the market, the market can get more competitive. So we thought we had a window here to try to close on a deal pretty fast.
And I know you said, you know, you'll wait to see how things move with just the bullpen. But is there a chance he makes starts for you guys and you guys kind of reassess your rotation here in the second half?
Yeah, there's a chance he makes starts for us. You know, we've all talked pretty openly about the number of innings our pitchers have thrown. So that's something that if we decided to skip starts or do something along the way, we have another person that we know is very capable of making starts. So we would expect him at some point to make starts. It's just a matter of when. And I know Q and Brian Sweeney, they're digesting everything right now and talking about it. So we'll see how it goes and make that determination along the way.
JJ, how does this change the rest of how you're going to attack the trade deadline heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I think whatever happens or doesn't happen also will have an effect on what roles guys slide into moving forward. But we've got, you know, a little over 24 hours until the deadline ends. So we'll keep working hard today on different things and see what evolves and something. You know, our roster changes and may have an effect on other people's roles, but we're going to keep working hard at it. You know, we've talked about the need for a right-handed bat, so we're going to keep working at that. And then, you know, still, again, you know, it was a good reminder yesterday of how fragile a season can be. Getting depth in your bullpen is very important, and we'll keep working at that as well.
All right, so that was JJ Piccolo addressing the media earlier today about the Michael Lorenzen trade, and then at the end, just how they view the trade deadline. So it happened. It sounded like somewhat of a coincidence, but also
they were already working on it.
Right, when you look at how it went down after the injuries, Schreiber is likely headed to the IL, and the rest of the move, it seems like if you're the Rangers, why were you able to acquire Michael Lorenzen is because they've got some guys coming back from IL here very, very soon. And so they were going to have a roster crunch. He was getting moved no matter what. It just so happened to work for the Royals. But he also said there he's going to start at some point for us. It sounds like initially, Cody, he's going to be in the bullpen.
Yeah, and I'm guessing maybe because he just went 1 in 4 innings and they want to get a look at him first. Maybe that's the case. I'm kind of surprised. I assume when you trade for a guy who's been making starts and has a sub-4 ERA, you'd be thinking about that guy as a starter. But look, I told you a week ago, we asked this question to Vern, and I didn't think it was unfair at the time, whether or not you would trust Alec Marsh to make the starts at the 5th spot for the rest of the season. And I told him I would, but that question is being asked now because he's been struggling for the better part of like 4 to 6 weeks or so. And so people are asking the question, do you need an extra starter instead? I will say this is another reason to like the deal. Massive safety net. Massive safety net for what he just said. Seth Lugo is, if he's not at a career high, he is close to it. It is not even August yet. He is already at a career high. Reagans hasn't really consistently thrown this many innings because of his injury history. Singer is going to be coming up probably by the time the season ends. He'll be broaching on career highs for himself. There's a risk. There's a risk that at some point someone won't be able to make a couple of starts. And if you look at what the options were down below there, I wouldn't have liked the starting options. I like it a lot better with Lorenzen. I do. If I need a month's worth of starts at some point, just because. I like it a lot better with
he gives you some options because, in the minors, there really aren't any at this point in time.
Not that I'd want to throw. I'm not trying to throw Chandler Champlain into a start,
This 2 texts back-to-back are a perfect example of fandom. So one text is someone very upset at me for saying it wasn't an A-plus trade, even though I said I like the trade. I just don't think I'm falling in love. Like, Walter Pennington trading away A-plus, like, in terms of what you had to give up. But let's not act like Michael Lorenzen was trading for Max Scherzer either. So, like, there's a balance. That's all I was trying to say. So someone's very mad at me. And then the next text is, you guys suck, another bleeping move by the Royals. So this is a perfect example of just where things
we
are.
suck or the move
No,
sucks?
no. The move sucks.
Oh.
My point being is one person says I'm not optimistic enough. The next one says that we're too negative. So it's a good example of how people view sports in the text line.
I want to. So someone said, "Now I know why you guys cover the Chiefs in July." I want to ask a very serious question.
Oh man!
I want to ask a very serious question.
That's
First, my background is baseball, as you well know, and normally I'm accused of being worse at that sport.
Your background's baseball. That's funny too, though. It's as if Cody pitched in the minors and the college ball and everything.
This is the question I have about this texter in particular. And look, you're not the only person. Plenty of people hate this move. Why? Help me understand why you would hate a move for a reliever/starter with a sub-4 ERA who's made almost 20 starts this season for Walter Pennington. They didn't give up Blake Mitchell. They didn't give up young control. Like, they gave up a 26-year-old reliever. What I don't know, like, what's not to like? Will it work out? No, every deal doesn't. I can't be promised. I can't promise you that this deal will work out, and I'm sure you'll be back in the text line, or anybody will be back to be like, look, see, I told you so, the second that was the case. But I remember people hating the Cole Reagans trade when they traded for Aroldis Chapman because they're like, that's it? That's all you're getting? And we had the questions about whether or not.
No, but there
they
has to
should
be
go after a
balance,
young
though.
starter.
Like, on both ends. Like,
it's not a perfect trade. I like the trade. I
yeah,
really
that's
like
like just balance.
There's no
Like,
risk.
I don't think we should be comparing it to the Cole Reagans trade and acting like they're replicating that. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, there's a balance. It makes it's a trade that makes all the sense in the world for what they gave up. For the logic behind it is all there. I'm just saying, let's bat. Like, they didn't trade for the best bullpen arm. They didn't trade for one of the best available pitch. They got a guy that's going to help them in certain areas, and they didn't really have to give up anything. That's what they did. So whatever whether you take that as an ultra positive or a negative, I don't know. I just feel like this is one of those where it's okay to say the logic makes sense. They didn't really give up anything. Yeah, it's a nice trade. That's it. We don't have to act like it's the best trade ever. We also, I don't think, should try to act like it's the worst trade ever. It is okay at times to be reasoned. I know in Sports Talk Radio you're supposed to go to the extremes here, but like it is okay. We don't have to act like they just made the best trade on earth either.
Cody, can I ask you a question about something you just said?
Sure.
You said if the trade works out. What do you mean by that? What is, in your opinion, this trade working out?
Royals make the postseason, and Lorenzen pitches decent for them. The end. I mean, it really isn't like, what more are you asking for? We're asking for the Royals to make the postseason. They have now had 2 opportunities to buy or sell. They have bought both times. So they're buyers. Yeah. The Royals are going for a postseason hunt. If Lorenzen pitches okay for them and they go to the postseason, it works. If he pitches like garbage for them and then in the postseason pitches great, it works.
Right.
The same thing as like the Cueto trade. Does anybody remember how Cueto did not pitch well until the postseason? Like, Cueto was not lights out for this organization when he first got over there. And again, my argument is that I think the trade is a massive win because there's no risk in it for me.
I hear you.
But I don't know if it's a home run yet.
And this year, between Walter Pennington, as someone points out, I think it's fair, for this particular season, if your goal is, hey, can they get better at all, even if it's a smidge better, to help them get to the postseason, well, then that's what this trade does. Walter Pennington, with all due respect to him, was not helping you get to the postseason this year. Michael Lorenzen might.
Who do you think's working out over here?
What?
I know we got to go to break, but who's this player over?
Probably just like a worker.
You think it's just like
I think it's a staff member or something.
Like just a staff member?
The players are in meetings usually right now. There's no way.
I don't know.
There's some guy, Cody's point, there's a guy in Chief shorts, shirtless, working out still. I mean, he looks like he's in shape. He could be an athlete, but I don't know. I thought they were. I thought they were in meetings. I was wondering what you were looking at. You kept staring over there. Why don't you go over there and ask? Why don't you go run over there real quick? Why don't you go run down there and go, hey, who are you? I'm sure that'll go over real well.
He might have heard you yell that. Did the guy? I mean, just tape. I thought at first they had gloves on. You're right. Probably just a member of the training
Actually,
staff.
Look.
Is it LRZ?
No, I was thinking it was Sky Moore for a half second because he's short enough.
Oh, man, I just can't tell.
Who knows, man?
It's way too
Who
far
knows?
away.
Who knows?
Come on, man. You got Dury vision. I'm here sweating in non-prescription
Yeah,
sunglasses.
I mean, what do you want me to? I mean, look, it's not a star player. I don't think. Like, Cody, there's 90+ guys practicing. It could be some guy that was playing D3 could be out there right now. I don't know, or D2. Like, who knows? If you really want during the break, we can walk over there. Like, hey, man, you getting a little workout in, and then you can find out who it is. I have no clue.
I want to be able to get.
I
proper
think they're
credit
in
on here.
meetings. I doubt it's a player.
I don't know.
What's your guess?
I don't know. I'll tell you this much. I'm getting closer.
You're getting closer to what?
To him. I'm gonna find out who it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get a photo. No, I can't take a photo. Can't take a photo of somebody walking around shirtless. That's just.
Yeah, why would you take a photo? What are you gonna tweet?
So that
tweet it
maybe you could look at it a little closer.
Well, you want me to analyze the photo?
Yeah. All right. We gotta go to break.
We do. I'm glad we had that talk. I'm really glad.
I got distracted. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
He's doing high knees like Russell Wilson on a plane here.
Up next, though, one thing that was the biggest problem last year on top of the deep ball they're working on clearly here so far, and who factors into that solution, plus the random question of the day next.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
When you're talking about something as important as your eyes, you want to go with the most trusted in Kansas City, the best in Kansas City, and that's why I called up Dury Vision when I knew that I was sick of my contacts and glasses. What I wanted to find out, could I actually get rid of them? And the answer was yes. I called them up for that free consultation, just like you can do, at 913-491-3330. You can also go online to duryvision.com, and when you go in for that consultation, they're going to walk you through a plan they can put together just for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. In fact, they're going to take all these images of your eyes and lay it all out for you in front of you. And just a few days later, if you're a candidate for LASIK, you could be having your procedure. That's all it took. A couple days later, I went in for my procedure. The laser was about 16 seconds on each eye, and the very next day, I was driving back into work. And right now is a great time to take advantage of their Friends and Family Savings event where you could save up to $1,000 on a LASIK procedure. Just go to duryvision.com or call them up and tell them Gold sent you. 913-491-3330. The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton and soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to sign up and start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and older and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are you in need of top-quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, Service and Repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Looking for a great job? Work at First Student. First Student is hiring school bus drivers in the Ray-Pec area. Earn up to $24 an hour and get a $3,500 signing bonus too. Great benefits and paid training. Apply now. Workatfirst.com.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut to size. Because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better when cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in the zone.
It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in the zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in the zone.
It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in the zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
If you're listening to this Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance ad, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance, I'm gonna live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong, and that someday you won't be listening to the radio anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then when you stop, if you stop listening to the radio, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab too. Visit GerberLifeFamily.com. See website for terms and restrictions.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Back here at Chiefs Training Camp. Our training camp coverage presented by Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. Reminder, coming up a little bit later in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll have our conversation we had with Jared Wiley, Chiefs rookie tight end. Cody did not determine.
I was going to.
Who it was working out on the field. I'm pretty sure.
I almost put the camera around, but I don't think you can get a
I think it's just a staff member. It's all good.
Okay, so someone asked for a description of the man. I would say, what do you think, average height? I definitely don't think they're short, but I don't think they're like super tall.
Yeah, so you're
either.
saying they're like 6'1".
Average height.
6 foot.
No tattoos. Lighter skin tone. Great shape. Inarguable. So either it's a training staff member who's an absolute psychotic person, because they have now taken 3 runs of 80 yards down the field.
Remember, the heat index is like 102, so you're coming back out after.
Full sun, not a single damn cloud, and he's running 80 yards down the field. He's doing high knees.
I thought
he's going to take a couple drinks of water. I can't figure it out.
I thought players were in film meetings. That's why I don't think it would be a player, but who knows? Cody is infatuated at this point. You should just go over there and ask. Just flat out go ask.
You think I should just go ask?
Just because the curiosity is killing you.
I mean, it is kind of killing me. I'm not going
to go over there real quick and find out. He's going to find out he's a.
You want me to find out?
Go there.
This is?
Go. You go. Go. Just go. Be like, hey man, real quick. What are you doing out here? You with the staff? Something like that. Cody put his headset down. Can I turn the camera so you guys can see Cody trying to walk over there? I don't know. Well, this could be a wild cue. By the time Cody walks over there, because Cody's not sprinting, I don't blame him. This could be a while. This could be a bit. He's doing, what was the event you were talking about earlier in the Olympics, Drew? Race walking? That's what Cody's doing. Race walking He's doing some race walking. I don't know if you guys can see him over there.
Is he following all the rules?
No, he gave up after about 2 seconds of the of the race walk. But he's walking over there. He's walking over there. We're going to get our answer because otherwise I don't know if the show can continue because I think Cody would keep looking over there mid-conversation and then point out something different. But he's definitely going up to the guy. Let's see. Here he goes. He's talking to him right now.
When he's staring at the guy,
he's
just
he's
looking
talking.
in the
He's like, "Hey, who are you?"
direction?
He's like, "Hey, who are you? What are you doing, man?" This guy's talking to him. Cody's small talking a little bit, riveting stuff. He's like, "Oh, we were just wondering what you." We're gonna find out it's probably someone more important than we actually think after this. We're just like, "What are you doing out here?" So he just now does Cody know he's just gonna strike up a full blown conversation, and maybe he'll be back in 10 minutes. I don't know. He just now the guy's coming closer to the fence and everything. Q. So who knows? Who knows how it's gonna turn out? I'm sure he's telling him that we were joking on the radio about that. So the cameras are not up for you guys to see anyway. So yeah, and no, text line, it is not Russell Wilson. We can confirm it is not Russell Wilson as Cody is making his way back here. I would start another topic, but I know it's going to get derailed anyway, so I might as well just stall, frankly, for about 20 more seconds, and then Cody will be back here, and we can get the answer. And then we can talk about one thing that they are clearly working on here at camp, and it's not just the deep passes, but it is definitely something else, and we will get to that. And it fits with our guest that we had earlier. But people are mad you didn't leave the cameras up, so I turned the camera. They couldn't see you. They were very upset about that as well. We'll let you get the camera turned back up, and then who was it?
It is a Chiefs player.
Oh.
The correct answer we were looking for was Matt Ariza.
Oh, it's the punter.
It is
well,
Matt
in fairness,
Ariza.
that would explain why we couldn't point him out because we haven't really seen the guy.
Matt Ariza.
So the punter getting in some work.
He said, I got to get my run in. He said during practice there's not a lot of running, and he wants to make sure he gets his conditioning in.
I mean, good
so
for
that
him.
is punter Matt Ariza
Okay.
in 105-degree heat index, running 80-yard gassers 3 hours after practice.
Okay.
ended.
Well, at least it's a player. I actually feel even better about it. What punter
How
in the
long would it
league?
be
What
taking
other
you to
punter in
guess
the
Matt
league?
Ariza?
What other punter in
More
the league?
dedicated, you know?
Is putting in that kind of effort. So, all right. Would not have guessed that it was him. We haven't seen him enough. Haven't seen him in person really. So that explains.
He would have happily, by the way, just sat and chat for a few minutes if we just want to hang out.
Well,
we almost should have put him on the microphone.
Well, I'm sure the Chiefs would love that. But when I was talking to Q, I'm like, oh great, Cody's going to come back in 15 minutes now because I could tell you guys were talking. I'm like, oh.
I told him, I said, hey man, I'll let you get back to your workout. I didn't, I didn't want to hold
Someone
him up
says
forever.
they're gonna remember this run today when Matt Ariza just blows up a returner one time this year. Hopefully it's a good enough punt that the return doesn't even get near him. But I hear you. Just remember, your punter is running gassers in 105-degree heat index on his own after practice.
Dedicated, you know?
Well after practice, too.
Dude, it is like, practice ended a
2
little
hours
before
ago.
11 o'clock. So, it's been almost 2 hours since
That's
practice
great.
ended.
There you go. All right. Well, now we know what Matt Ariza looks like. There you go.
Yeah, I felt really bad. I said, hey, sorry, I'm on a sports – this is how I said it.
Oh, God.
We're on a sports radio show. We're doing a show over there, and we were debating whether or not if you were on the roster or if you were a trainer. I said, are you on the roster? He said, yeah, I am. And he was still walking, so I couldn't get a good view of him. I said, your name? He said, Matt. And I said, Ariza? And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay, Matt Ariza.
In fairness, is a punter. It'd be really embarrassing, and I'd feel bad if he wasn't a punter.
Well, now you're dismissing his position.
No, but like the same thing you did. You went up there, you didn't know who he was.
Even when I got close, I'm like, okay, this guy could be a trainer, but like, I'll be honest, I thought from the distance, I thought he had like DK Metcalf.
Someone
abs.
says
his abs were good.
This
but
is
like,
where
yeah.
you should go grab a football and just start punting on this side of the field over here, just to see what he says.
Let's have him judge my punting. Since
You-
I've always
you
claimed
go
it was
you
really
go out
good.
there and just punt. You just go out there and punt and see if he looks over and acknowledges you. Like, hey man, you got some work to do. What are you doing? What are you
Give me
doing?
a tip.
I bet you he could get you within 5 minutes. He could get you to at least having like a decent looking punt.
I don't see any footballs around, or that would be a really.
Well, he's not punting either.
No, he's
not.
not.
I think he's done now. He's putting the shirt back on and he's off.
He was just getting
He's
a
off.
run in.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get a little cardio. That's all.
We had Jared Wiley join us, and it leads into this conversation because of Wiley being a factor in the red zone. He joined us. We talked about it, and when you think about the issues a year ago, it's all about the deep pass, but also in the red zone, and that is something that has been emphasized already here at camp as well. Is the red zone efficiency, and we always think of it as a trick plays, and when it works, we don't call it cute. When it doesn't work, it's too cute.
Yeah, so I guess a lot of this is I'll believe it when I see it. I have watched now, because red zone's been an emphasis. It always is for Andy Reid, but it was a problem last year. They weren't good. And we're getting the red zone, Gold. And the cute part, you and I we don't completely dismiss it. I understand its time, its place, its setup, why it works sometimes, and why, like anything else, we should not just talk about when it's successful, but we should also talk about when it works or when it does, or when it's successful versus just when it's bad. And I think that a lot of times people want to just turn it into that, and that's not necessary. So I think that when we're talking about the rest of it, but I want to believe, Gold. I do. I want to believe that they're just going to throw it to the big guy. I'll believe when I see it. I think it's just as likely they do some, double reverse end around to Kadarius Toney than they just let Kadarius Toney box out a corner. I want it to be that. That's what I want the offense to eventually to look like. But I can't believe that until they're actually there. Does that make sense?
I get it. I think we saw, though, they've tried to do it. It's just Shody Fortson didn't stay healthy. That was another bigger-bodied tight end that they were interested in athleticism in the red zone, having that athleticism in the red zone. And Fortson couldn't stay healthy, so now I think that's something they could go back to. Multiple tight ends, and this to me would be where you could start to see Jared Wiley have a rookie impact. Long term, maybe he turns out to be the number one tight end. I don't know. Short term, I think you're more likely to see touchdown numbers than yardage from Wiley in year number one.
Yeah, yes, and again, I want him to be an impactful player because I want them to begin the reinvention of the red zone. They have been I feel like of all the parts of the field, that's the part of the field where the creativity is there, but with the same fundamental idea, if that makes sense. What if we confuse and deceive and move and while at times that's obviously worked really well for their offense, I still don't think that they just have some red zone horse. I thought that worked better when you had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and they were both in their prime, and you could rely on those two guys to be such a distraction to everyone else on defense. You could almost give the ball to literally anyone, and it worked. And I don't think that they have somebody that scares you so much in the red zone, not anywhere, but in the red zone specifically, that all of that deception works the same as what if we just line people up in a way that a corner is going to have to guard Jared Wiley. We had him on the show earlier. You'll hear it at 1:30. He's all but a 6'6", 40? I don't know. He's a big guy.
Yeah, 6'6" for sure.
220 probably, 210. And so he's a big guy, and I want them to utilize that speed, and they seem to be doing it in practice, but I just haven't seen them do it in execution. Red zone's really important, though. Absent the deep ball, red zone was their biggest problem in offense. They couldn't score.
I think there's a chance, though, that the ability to have the deep passing attack back, if in fact that happens, you're right, less opportunity in the red zone in a good way, but does that also just make your red zone offense more efficient when you're not consistently relying on having to go down there? Now, you're going to, majority of the time, you're still going to need that, and that's a huge deal. But I wonder if that also helps them in the red zone if there's the threat of the deep pass so that you're not always, anytime you have to score, it's always going to be via the red zone versus scoring outside the red zone.
I mean, look, again, I wouldn't rule out that possibility. The idea that you don't have to worry as much about your red zone offense. If it turns out you can score from 60 yards out all of a sudden, it doesn't hurt, Gold, but they still got to just be better in the red zone. I could actually argue that it was a bigger part of the problem than their offense because technically, yardage-wise and all those things, they still moved the ball. They technically moved the ball almost as well as they normally move the ball offensively. Longer drives, took them longer, but they technically were successful 20-20 Gold. Their problem came down to the drive started to stall out when they were once again asked to not just move the ball, but move the ball 20 additional yards into the end zone, and therefore they settled for a lot of field goals as a result of that. And so, I honestly think I could make an argument that the bigger issue or the more important thing to them is red zone than the deep passing game. But based on the way they talk, I think they just missed the deep passing game. I think they want the offense to feel fun again. Because last year, I think Patrick Mahomes said it best, I don't think they had a lot of fun last year. I think for a good chunk of the season, they weren't enjoying themselves.
Text line says 210. He must be like 260. I think they're talking about the Jared Wiley
I don't know how big
stuff.
he is. I don't know his weight, but he's huge. He's a very, very, very tall. He's a very tall person.
Let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Q. Over on the text line, 913-586-7610. And, of course, over on the stream, as we're talking about, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, where you can catch the live stream every single day. My camera keeps freezing up. People are saying it's unfortunate for me, the faces I'm making when it's occurring. The cameras are getting a little hot, Gold. I was gonna say they're getting a little
Well,
toasty.
we've got the
Little
airflow
toasty.
going. We got multiple fans pointed in our direction. We've got some cooling towels that probably next segment we're.
You're about to dip into.
Yeah, it's time.
All right,
think
question
it's
I have
time.
for you today is related to the heat. I'm going to eliminate the obvious answer, which is icy, icy, icy cold water. The question I have for you is when you are incredibly hot and stuck outside, what is the number one beverage? You have to eliminate water because water hits different when it's 105 degrees outside. If you didn't have this, would you prefer a cold beer, maybe a margarita, a Gatorade? I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
what is
obviously.
the drink you would go with? And let's just say you're outside, you're not doing a radio show. You have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
You're just cooking. It's outside. You can have any drink you want but water. What are you going with?
Yeah, it's probably just going to be a cold beer in that scenario. You know, if I'm on the beach, it's probably more of like a margarita. But if it's just you're just outside, and it's hot, then yeah, cold beer. If you're not, even though that's not really
You think
helping.
that hits better than a Gatorade?
It depends on the setting. Like right now, I would chug the hell out of a Gatorade.
That would be good.
I would chug
I
the
could probably
heck
get
out.
us a Gatorade up there. Maybe.
But no, I think Gatorade's probably the better option than what I said. I mean, from a rehydration standpoint, beer should not be the answer to
I'm
this
gonna be honest,
question.
I think the answer is lemonade. Fresh, icy cold lemonade can't be beat.
It's just drinking sugar. You might as well just have a Gatorade.
I know, but I like lemonade better than Gatorade. Like in this scenario, I don't care about the electrolytes. I'm just looking for
in a way you should. In a way, you should care about the electrolytes.
A refreshing cold beverage.
In a way, the
I'm
answer
not sure someone
should
hit better than that.
The answer should probably be something with electrolytes. Today, that would be a good thing.
You think so? Another trade, by the way, in Major League Baseball. The Cardinals and White Sox and Dodgers are in agreement on a three-way deal. Right-handed pitcher Eric Fetty to St. Louis. Infielder Tommy Edman to the Angels. And the White Sox are getting a haul of prospects in return, according to Ken Rosenthal. So not the Garrett Crochet deal yet. J.J. Piccolo earlier today, when talking about the trades, did confirm that he had spoken at least a little bit to the White Sox.
I'm assuming he's
spoken
spoken.
zero.
I'm guessing he's spoken to 15
Kepik?
teams.
Yeah.
You know what I
maybe
mean?
more.
Like he made it sound like that it's up to whether or not the White Sox want to make an intra-division trade and whether or not they're concerned about making that move versus a team outside the division.
Someone said, fresh squeezed lemonade. That's correct. Someone said, lemonade is a gross drink. Limeade. I love a limeade, too. I'm not opposed to a limeade.
I mean, Sonic Cherry Limeade is top level.
You know what? I might have been wrong.
Top level.
Limeade might be a better, really hot drink than lemonade. Limeade's so crisp and refreshing.
Someone says if it's hot like now and icy, if it's warm, a cold beer. That's true. There's a difference. If 83 degrees, cold beer. Hot like this.
You can't even enjoy the beer, you know? You drink
Yeah.
it so fast because you don't want it getting tepid. It becomes undrinkable in about 8 minutes. The lemonade, good insulated cup, you might be able to hold for a little bit of time.
That's fair.
Someone says iced coffee or blue powered. Iced coffee? Coffee just seems, it's too heavy. I don't want a liquid with too much viscosity in this heat.
Yes.
You know? Like I enjoy like a cold, like I like Coke Zero or whatever. In this heat, it's too much. Makes me want to die. It gets warm too fast. I need something. It's got to be like a light texture. Does that make sense?
No, I hear you.
I'm
If
for something to that.
Pop or whatever is a terrible thing today. But if you had to pick one, yeah, you would pick Sprite versus
Multiple people
Dr.
mentioning
Pepper.
tea, iced tea or sweet tea.
Sweet tea over lemonade, yeah.
I'm not a sweet tea guy. I drink a lot of iced tea, but just unsweetened. Do you drink sweet tea? Or are you an unsweetened tea? Or you drink no tea?
No tea, really. I mean, if I do, sweet tea, but it's not part of my normal
You don't drink
rotation.
much caffeine.
Not a big caffeine guy, yeah. I'm not. For whatever, it just never been much of a caffeine guy. As a kid, I think times just changed. Like, as a kid, we always had a 12-pack of Coca-Cola in the fridge. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a 12-pack of anything other than beer in my fridge. Like, you know what I mean?
High Noons.
Or High Noons.
Those come in 8-packs.
Yeah, they're very expensive. Way expensive, but they're great. They're great. Like,
Got Steve.
I would, if we were driving home, right now, High Noons would be incredible. A little water in front of us and some High Noon. Oh.
We don't have any water. We just have a football field.
Yeah.
We could sit at the 50-yard line, you know?
Sit
at the 50 and
At least we have a tent over our head, which helps a little bit. Helps a little bit. If you've been listening to the hottest Cody and Gold ever, the hottest Cody and Gold show ever. That's what you're watching.
For a variety of reasons. We were talking about shirtless people working out.
Yeah,
you know?
it's the hottest show ever. We got football players running around shirtless still. We got the heat. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
I really feel bad. He stopped working out after that. Do you think that Matt Araiza decided to leave
No, I
the
think he was
practice
towards
field?
the end. He had already been working out for 15 or 20 minutes. It is hot. He's not going to be out here for an hour. He said he just needed to get some runs in.
I said, "Are you crazy? It's so hot."
You said that?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He just said, he's like, "I just wanted to get." That was when he said, "I wanted to get my run." And I'm like, "It's too hot, man. You got to like, screw that. Get a treadmill or something." You tell me I got a treadmill
That's
in there?
not the same as running out in the heat.
Dude, it's like 100 degrees out here.
Some people like the heat. They get the quick sweat, I guess. I don't
Someone
know.
says QT, black mango iced tea splash of sweet. Someone says Arnold Palmer, so they want the mix of both. Someone says crazy, but try Mountain Dew high voltage. Something like a cold orange drink.
I've never had the high voltage.
I do think fruity drinks play better in the heat. You know?
Sure.
Like you mentioned, like the high noon. Something about like a fruit juicy, like maybe just like a really cold juice of some kind would be good in this heat.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's all. That's
So
my
says
random question.
They're watching the stream. Hot enough they can see gold smelting.
Someone said that earlier you looked a little pale and asked if you were okay. You feeling okay?
I'm fine. I've been drinking
You look
water.
pretty normal. We both have
Someone
had, like,
thought you looked way too red earlier. He's fine.
Do I look way too? I mean, I'm
I
probably
have
a little red.
sunglasses on.
I'm probably a little red. I've been sitting out in the heat.
No, I feel. Trust me, we've all been there. I know when I'm overheated and like you start to get the know the feeling.
Yeah.
It's not there at all.
What's the temperature of the shower when you get home later?
I don't know
It
if I'm
won't
gonna
be
go,
cold, but it's not going to be warm.
Yeah, definitely not hot. I mean, I'm not going like lose your breath.
I used
know.
to take cold showers in the summer when we lived in a house with no AC. There was no choice, dude. It was too hot.
Yeah, there's it'll be a nice cool shower, but we're not going to the coldest or anything like that. No. Nothing better but nice cold water from a hose in the summer.
Got to let that thing run for 10 seconds.
And someone says also Matt probably doesn't go to the emergency room for a jammed finger, Cody.
You don't know that. He's a punter.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to the doctor for a swollen finger.
Well, he has trainers. He has a distinct advantage. They called it severe sprain.
Where are you at on this queue, by the way? Where are you at on the
cold beverage?
Cold beverage.
I was thinking like the only time I'm outside when it's super hot is either when I'm working, so I would just drink water, or if I'm at a baseball game. And so I like to go the cherry limeade route with a little bit of adult beverage inside.
It's a good choice.
Oh.
It's a really
Someone
good
says
choice.
you guys are crying about the weather way too much. Well, that was a random question of the day. Was what you're doing.
I'd like the reminder over on Twitter. Somebody said because of the day that I complained about it being cold in the studio.
That's what you get.
Someone said, I think they reminded us of the fact that they once said that I should have to join the asphalt company, GAN, who I endorse, for a day and check in every hour or so to see how it's going. I have to go work the asphalt crew for a whole day in this heat, and then I check back. You guys check in with me and see how I'm doing. Do you think I'd make it? Do you think I'd make it 8 hours?
No chance. No chance.
I think I'd make it like 4.
No chance, man.
I think I could make it 10 to 2.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
You don't think I could make it 10 to 2?
Nope.
Just drink some water?
I don't think so, man. I don't think you're surviving out in these elements working. Not sitting, but actually working. Physical labor. Anyway, we're here at training camp. Our coverage is presented by Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. Up next, we get to the 1 o'clock hour. We talk a little bit more about the consistency that has to exist with the Royals and what the next plan is after the Michael Lorenzen trade. Coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold.
If the Royals win the World Series, I will get, and you can mark it if you want, but
No,
I'll get
everybody
this
knows you said
tattooed
it.
on my body.
Who gives? We're winning games.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win and no rake. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Lasts the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. Quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada, Play from anywhere. Visit circusports.com for details.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Men, low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include a low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. We've successfully treated many men for low T and seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're like the vast majority of men who are low T, within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, that brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So make an appointment and make a true life change. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Hi, I'm Mitch Schultz, voice of the Chiefs. Make history this summer by attending Kansas City Chiefs Training Camp in St. Joseph, Missouri. There's still time to join me for year 12 of Chiefs Training Camp in St. Joe. For more details, go to stjomo.com. stjomo.com. In St. Joe, you'll discover 150 years of history, where the Pony Express began and Jesse James ended. Experience history, make history. Go to stjomo.com. Produced in cooperation with the Missouri Division of Tourism.
It's the dog days of summer. Baseball is in full swing. And unfortunately, so is your work schedule. Stay connected to your local team, even while you're working hard, with your favorite station on Odyssey.com. Get the best in local sports talk, listen live, or jump back to what you missed with Rewind. It's all here, all just a few clicks away. And I'll tell you something, it makes the workday go that much faster. Listen at work. Visit Odyssey.com today to get started.
As school messes return, rest easy. Clorox has got your back to school.
Oh, no. I'm back. That messy science experiment. And I brought baking soda, cornstarch.
And you're due tomorrow, right? Well, at least I stocked up on Clorox disinfecting wipes, because you're not messing up my kitchen counters like last time.
Ooh, smart. Got any food coloring?
And off to the store we go.
Stock up on Clorox disinfecting wipes that clean 3 times better. Then wet paper towels and kitchen grease and soaps come. Use as directed.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just a cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full-sized, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ, happy tastes good.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just a cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full-sized, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ, happy tastes good.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. The all-new 249 Miles of Football podcast, hosted by Drew Nixon, with new episodes released every Wednesday, is available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour live at Chiefs Training Camp. We're inside the Comcast Business Tent, powering possibilities. Guys can always interact with us on the text line, 913-586-7610. Before we get to the Royals, let's update you a couple moves happening in baseball. The one you had referenced before the break, but also during the break, as things are heating up. We're a little over 24 hours away from the trade deadline. We know the Royals made a move for Michael Lorenzen. I still think there's another move from them to come before tomorrow afternoon. But one name is off the board, and I think it speaks to the challenge of acquiring any of the bigger names in the bullpen market.
Because of who you're bidding against.
Correct. So from we were just talking about the White Sox, and would they trade? Yep. We don't know if the Royals were talking to the White Sox about Kopech or
it makes sense, or Flaherty,
or some
of the
but
other guys.
Looks like he is headed to the Dodgers. So one of the top closers available, bullpen arms available. 28-year-old headed to the Dodgers. I don't know the exact compensation package yet, but that's the challenge. Like you're dealing with some teams that have better setup on their farm system and are more willing to trade away pieces. You know, the Royals are a year ahead of schedule. I think they're willing to make moves. We've already seen that, but I don't think in a position where they're willing to trade any other of their top prospects. Remember, they already did trade in their system the number 2 prospect, even if it's a weaker system. They already traded Caden Wallace for Hunter Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they gave up. Again, I don't think they had to really give up much for Lorenzen, as we've previously discussed. So far, what they've given up for what they've gotten in return, I feel like they've done some, I would say, bargain shopping a little bit, right? They haven't given up some of their top prospects or some of their bigger names. Caden Wallace is not a nobody in their organization, but they haven't given up probably the top 10 guys in their organization in order to do it, which means they still got ammunition if they want to. But to your point, the teams they're bidding against right now have some deeper and more established farm systems, just based on where their organizations still currently are. And I think that's going to make it a challenge to actually win the bid, if that makes sense. And hell, maybe that's why they've gotten good deals done with the Rangers each of the last 2 years, because Chris Young is the guy on the other side. I don't know.
Relationships matter. I mean, look, the moves that we have seen taking place so far, the names are all the names that everybody's been bringing up for weeks and weeks. Just now the activity is happening, and I'm wondering, thinking about who it would take to even acquire some lesser names because of the compensation that's out there. Like, would you be if I told you the Royals got a Lane Thomas or Ward from the Angels?
Yeah.
Would you be fine parting ways with, Carter Jensen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you okay with doing that? And I don't know if the Royals are.
I don't know that I am.
Carter Jensen, Noah Cameron. I was texting with a friend of mine that follows minor leagues a little bit more than I do. Or like, what would it take to get a Lane Thomas or somebody like that? And Carter Jensen might have to be. Lane Thomas, for those that don't know, he's with the Nationals. Hasn't been quite as good this year, but a really good 2023 campaign.
I will say, giving up catching depth would bother me probably the least. They are deeper at catcher than any other position in their entire organization. They moved MJ Melendez to outfield 2 years ago because they didn't have room for him at catcher. And their top prospect in their entire organization just got promoted to Double-A, and he's a catcher. So it's not like, I don't know what I'm not saying Carter Jensen can't have a future with this organization, or that maybe ends up being the better player. Being the better prospect does not mean you end up being the better player. I'm just saying that's from a position of strength. They've got strength and possibilities and everything else in between there in those positions. And so I have a hard time not thinking that that's at least something I'd be willing to move. Look, the reality of this past weekend is that as much as I know that they need bullpen help, they're just going to need the starting pitching to win anyway. Like, I don't mean to, like, oversimplify it because that's not the way we should always look at it, but let's face the reality. This weekend, when the bullpen gave up a grand slam on, like, the second pitch they came in, now the bases were loaded, so, like, they were put in a precarious situation. MacArthur was really bad in his last 2 times out. He has gotten absolutely shelled, and some other guys have absolutely struggled. It's the starting pitching is the reason why they didn't win those games. Lugo had a bad outing. Reagan's had a bad outing. They put him in a bad position to not win those games. Marsh was mediocre, and they ran into trouble because, no, they're not a world-beating offense. They've had like the 10th best offense all year, 12th best offense all year. No, they're not the world's best bullpen. They've been like the 20th best bullpen for the last like 3 months combined. You know what they have been? The number 3, number 4, number 2 starting rotation the entire year. If you get a mediocre start out of your starting rotation, the odds, I think, of you winning are less than 50-50. That's what happened yesterday. Reagans didn't go deep enough. He didn't pitch long enough for low enough runs. And then they lost the game. Was the bullpen bad? Sure.
And that's where Michael Lorenzen potentially could help. We'll see as time plays out this season. But if he's someone that provides some length to the bullpen, if you need multiple innings, or if he just flat out has to be a spot starter, if you get to that inning threshold with any of these guys, really, just about any of them, to where you need a spot start. And J.J. Piccolo, I'm not going to play the whole audio again. It was like 6 or 7 minutes, but he kind of alluded to that, Cody, that with days off, they got more days off this second half of the season and all that. But if they do have an instance where they need a spot start or someone needs to be skipped because innings are becoming concerning, he's someone that can slot in. They really don't have anybody else that could do that right now because we've seen like a Bolin, for example. That's not, we're past that. I think we kind of know what you're getting there.
Yeah. No, I mean to the point that I'd rather Lorenzen start.
Yeah.
Because there was a time this year when Alec Marsh went down after that line drive hit him in the forearm, where they did have to make some spot starts, and they went through several different guys. They gave Daniel Lynch a shot, and Carlos Hernandez.
His ERA is like 18 in the minors in the last month.
And Jonathan Bolin. They went through multiple guys. Lynch, Hernandez, Bolin, and what did it bear? No fruit. None. They were back in the same position they were last year, which was when the 5th starter spot came up. I hope you're scoring 9 runs today because that's the most likely scenario in which you're winning this game. And so Lorenzen provides them all the depth. Here's the thing with the pitching stuff, with the innings, I don't know that I would be fully against a 6-man rotation for like 2 weeks. Where you do it.
Maybe that's one of their options they're considering.
Where you do it, Gold, in a way that you essentially cut out. You do it twice. You do it once now, and just as long as you're still in a good playoff position, you do it once again in September, where you essentially eliminate 12 innings off of everyone's bottom line by getting them 1 less start per month over the next 2 months. You just bite a little juice. Ooh, a skip start, or just I'm starting every 6th instead of 5, and it just slows everything down, and maybe you shave 10 innings off of everyone's bottom line by the time the season is done. I wouldn't be totally against that. I wouldn't mind seeing them make another move, and part of the reason now is, Gold, now they're fully in aggressive mode. They've made 2 moves, both to add. So part of me is like, if you still think there's a weakness on the team and you can get it for the right price, keep going.
Yeah, that'll be the next move. If it happens, feels like it's happening much closer to the deadline. Like I in a weird way, like I'd almost be surprised if we woke up here in 3 hours and they had a move. I think it's now tomorrow, inside of an hour or so of the deadline, might be the next move that the Royals make. And I don't think it's the last one. Lorenzen, I've been saying it throughout the show. I think whether or not people like the trade or not, right? That's going to be up for debate, and who that player is that they acquire and who they give up, but. I think they're making another move, whether it's an arm or an outfielder. I wouldn't just be surprised if they stand pat with the 2 moves that they've made, and 2 moves that if you view the need, they both have been potentially bullpen arms. One for sure, Harvey. The other one might be a bullpen, might be a starter. That's exactly what I wanted them to do. In fairness, like for the last month and a half, talking about trade assets, and I said, hey, more than bats, I want arms, and
you've gotten 2.
They
agree with you.
So if the next move is
a corner outfielder that
pick
rotates.
whoever, whatever name you like. Again, we already threw out
Taylor
Ward, Lane Thomas, somebody like that. Then so be it. You know who's off the board, though, now, right? You do know some of the guys that we had, that no more Jazz Chisholm being linked. That's all done. He's on the Yankees now. No more Kopech and that kind of stuff. That's all done at this point in time. I will point out, thinking of the Royals, though, reminder later on today during the drive, Hall of Fame third baseman George Brett going to be joining Carrington and Rob at 4 o'clock today. I'm sure they will discuss Bobby Wood Jr.'s trajectory and what he's been able to do.
I'm assuming that's part of the recent, I asked you the other day, I said, can he be the greatest Royals ever? You're like, I mean, maybe, but we don't have to talk about it yet.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's not unfair. He's in his first absolute breakout year as a superstar. And so, because last year he was really good, but this is his superstar year. When they put up the stats, I don't know, it was yesterday's game and the day before, and it was like, and then Nick Capel sent it out and said, all right, Bobby Wood Jr.'s stats since his Grand Slam. So he's played 162 games since his walk-off Grand Slam, which was like his coming-out party last year, right? So he's played 162 games, a full Major League Baseball season since he did that. And he leads the majors he's like second in extra base hits, leads him in on-base percentage, he's third in stolen bases, he's first in OPS. It's just like he's top 5 in every single statistical category on the planet. Honest to God, sometimes when I look at this year's stats, I'm like, damn, I kind of forget sometimes you're hitting like 335 or 330, which is an impressive batting average in an era of baseball in which batting average people don't even care about. He's got all the other stats too, but batting average is the stat that people have like buried as being way less important than they used to think it was.
So George Brett a little bit later on today going to join the drive. This text from the Jay Southland Toasters text line. See what you make of this. This from the 816. Someone says they being the Royals, should be selling. No one's willing to have that talk. Let's have that talk.
Interesting.
They said they could set themselves up for years down the road if they just unload a few guys. I would love to. Who would you? First of all, individual name. Who would you be willing to part with? And then the other part is this team is currently occupying
a playoff spot,
a wild card spot.
Are they in it after the game last night? I didn't look.
I admittedly did not wake up this morning and check the standings. Admittedly, so
I have been doing that a lot lately.
I just firmly disagree. Now we could argue should they stand pat instead of trading away anybody, but I'll point out right now. Specifically, the Michael Lorenzen trade, they gave away Walter Pennington. I mean, with all due respect to him, they didn't give up anything. You want to argue about Caden Wallace? That's fine. That's a fair. But Hunter Harvey is not just about this year; he's also about next year. So that, to me, pushes back on your theory of they're getting someone that's going to help them next year as well potentially. Selling, I just disagree. What message does that send? You know, and the window that they're in right now, it's not have to do it this year, but it's also not a guarantee that in 2 years that they're fine. Yeah, the core is here. We think.
But maybe Salvi's older, or maybe they don't get Vinny re-signed.
I think you capitalize now when you've got Seth Lugo having a career year, when you have Cole Reagan's pitching as well as he's doing, Brady Singer having maybe a career year. All this, it's not to say that some of them can't replicate a little bit of it next year. Nobody's saying to go trade away every single prospect, and they haven't. They're being very judicious, clearly, how they're going about this. They're not getting in a competition with the Dodgers or the Yankees for Jazz Chisholm. There's definitely a line they're not willing to cross, and I think that's smart because there is a balance. Yeah. They don't have to be ultra aggressive. I think they're doing a good job of walking that line right now.
Look, if they were to go sell, it would be, all right, they trade MJ Melendez or Hunter Renfroe, right, would probably have some interest based on the way he's been hitting, and people are always looking for corner outfielders. And then you'd have to really have a serious conversation about trading one of your starters. Like, are you willing to move on from Brady Singer? Are you willing to move on from Seth Lugo? Are you willing to move on from guys that really...
Well, in the offseason, let's have that conversation. Like, right now, like someone on text thinking they should trade Lugo right now. Like,
I don't want to do that.
I just firmly disagree with that.
And I get it. Like, the argument is, I'm selling myself everything for the future. But what you're talking about is a plan.
The team's here right now, though.
4 years. 4 years. And they've spent the last 9 years trying to get back to this point. I'm not in sell mood. Yeah. And look, maybe that's wrong. I understand your part to be like, hey, they're not fully there yet. I agree. But I would make the point.
But what is fully there? Like, honestly, on the text line, like, what's fully there? Because it's about getting in the dance and seeing what happens. Yeah. If your argument is, well, they're not good enough to win the World Series. One, anything can happen. And two, like, no kidding. Nobody's saying that they're a move away from winning the World Series. But by that lot, this team, as you said, they haven't been in the postseason since 2015. And we're going to have an argument of, well, they're not good enough to win the whole thing anyway, so I'll go another 4 years without them being in the playoffs. BS. I call it BS on that.
I don't want to live that way. I just don't. And look, and maybe that's a selfish line of thought, but when they've been trading pieces year in and year out, that was for this.
Yeah.
If they just keep trading pieces forever, well, then when are they going to actually buy so that I can assume this team's got a chance? In 14, they weren't supposed to go to the World Series, and they did. Last year, the Diamondbacks weren't supposed to go to the World Series.
Wild card team.
And they did. You just don't know when your window is going to be in baseball. And when you have a chance to be in a playoff spot, which they are right now with 55 games left to go or so.
And still with a young group, I think you have to continue to show them that you're with them here. Like
that was the whole speech they gave to Bobby Wood Jr., by the way, which is of note to what you just said. If you want Bobby Wood Jr. to be a 20-year player here in Kansas City, you better never stop proving to him that you care about winning, because that's what they told him when they gave him almost $300 million in order to stay here, was that part. And watching the team last night, I have come around on one thing. You and I have listened to a lot of people suggest a lot of names in the bullpen, because it's always just like, who's the next guy they'll go with? Like, well, I want Sam Long, and I want Walter Pennington, who just now got traded, of course. People have mentioned 1,000 names at close, and I'm like, guys, they don't have a closer. I have officially warmed up to the idea of trying out Bubic there.
Okay.
He
why not?
is dominating. Of anybody in the bullpen who has not shown a weak inning yet, and they are very limited innings, and I am understanding of that, Chris Bubic has dominated. So if there's a guy in line for the show me the new closer and give him like 5-6 good cracks at it, it's Chris Bubic. I've talked myself into that one, and I was like reserving until he got a few more innings in. But now that I keep seeing him dominate, I'm interested.
Every option should be on the table at this point with the struggles that you've had. I mean, I think that's fine. I don't know anybody that'd be against that necessarily idea. I think we just have to caution ourselves and be like, that he's just going to come in and be, let's have reasoned expectation of what he's going to be as a closer. If all of a sudden
you're still saying he's not Kenley Jansen, he's not Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, like she's like this. Whether
I'm just saying better than all the people they've had close so far.
People think I only defended MacArthur because of our thing, but let's flip the names. Let's say now it's Chris Bubic. If he gives you 6 straight outings, guys, and he's great, and we're all like, let's go, and then he has 2 rough outings. Are we just giving up? You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm not, no.
That's where I'm at. Like, let's just have reasoned expectation. Take the names out of it, and let's be realistic about what we're expecting from homegrown bullpen guys now at this point in time. They're not. They didn't trade for one of the best closers from the White Sox, or it could be a good closer. Like they don't have that guy is not out there right now, and not probably coming. So they're going to have to do in-house.
They have to be creative
and be creative with it.
If there's one guy on this team right now, though, that you think is most likely to be a, let's call him a top 10 closer in baseball the rest of the way, the last 2 months, I think it's Bubic. I think it's fairly obvious.
But so? I think you're right. But also, if we're being real, isn't that just a product of the struggles from? Because a week ago, everybody wanted Sam Long to get that chance.
But yes, most people did.
He had a couple rough goes. Now everybody's forget him. You know, we obviously had the MacArthur thing.
He had one
Hunter Harvey has been rough at times in terms of would you feel comfortable all the time?
People mentioned Schreiber to me at some point this year.
Will Smith early on in the season was the closer. We forget about that.
Nobody mentioned his name to come back, I guess.
No, it's like the backup quarterback thing. I haven't seen you fail, so make him closer.
Yeah, I just think that. So I'd like to think that it means a little bit more of me saying it to you than just anybody else, because I've been mostly in your camp. To this point, Gold, I have not been like, let's shuffle the deck chairs around. I've told you, I think most of their relievers are average. And when you put 6 average relievers in time, the most important thing is that all 6 do not have to pitch on the same day. Or hell, even 4 have to pitch all together on the same day, because the odds of 4 average relievers having their best day all at once. It's weird with MacArthur, because I saw someone put out the stat, which I still think is incredibly misleading. And no, not only just because we did MacArthur's 9th infantry, but someone put out the stat that said of 143, I think this is the number, 143 qualified relievers, he now has like the 14th worst ERA. Do you know how deceptive that is? If I had made you give me that stat 4 days ago, he'd have been in the top 35. It's a deceiving. He got his ass kicked.
Yeah, the reality is he's been awful this month. Yeah.
Yes, and they got to figure out whatever the hell went wrong with him, because something's wrong, and he's not the same pitcher he was a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But also to just try to make it seem like he's been one of the 10 worst relievers in all of Major League Baseball is not true. He went 9 scoreless outings out of his last 10 right before these 2. And he went 7 scoreless out of 9 the outings before those. So, like, for the most part,
I mean, but then
now,
at some
now
point
he's broken. Now
at
you
some
got to fix
point
him
it
again.
is reality now. I mean, I do think if we were to back up and they had a legit closer already, and MacArthur was just your 7th or 8th inning guy, and I know there's some leverage stats that somebody would point to and say that's not true, but if we were to back up and he was just the 7th or 8th inning guy, I think fans' sentiment around him would be so much different.
And here's the truth. if they had the best, who's the best closer at Clase? Who's the best closer in the league this year?
I would him or the kid that got hurt in Oakland.
Okay, yeah, or maybe I don't know. Kinley Jansen seems like he just never ages. He's one of the top closers in baseball.
But Clase led the league in saves last year. Yeah.
So let's just say if they had Clase, they'd be leading this division. And so I understand the frustration. I told you, honest to God, when I look at these teams comparatively, there is not the more and more I think about it, there is not a massive difference between these teams. The Guardians do not have an elite level offense. They have elite level players amongst other pretty good players. The Guardians' starting rotation is significantly worse than the Royals, but their bullpen is significantly better. If the Royals run differential is really close, has been really close all year long. Runs per game, runs given up per game. There's a lot of stats that say the Royals and the Guardians are relatively comparable teams. The biggest differences between these two teams for me is there are, let's say, 5 times, because that's how many games they are back in the division. There are 5 times this year that the Royals bullpen blew a game that the Guardians team wouldn't have.
Right.
So I understand the frustration over the bullpen. I do.
Yeah. I mean, and someone pointed out on the text line too. It's true. They're like, despite the lack of success recently from from MacArthur, it is true. He still has had more success. Now you can say, oh, he had more opportunity, but he still has had more success closing than anybody else on the roster. I'll just say that. And that's that. I mean, it's just like we can say it sucks.
He's been better in the
ninth
inning than any other.
He has. You know.
Should we pull those back up again? We looked up those stats once. Him in the 9th inning versus him in any other inning.
It's not good.
Well, Look, the inning got his ass kicked the other day.
He just flat out hasn't been good. I still think at times the narrative was set so early on the season about him that people were waiting for a moment because he went a whole month. We pulled up the number. He went a whole month where he was actually
almost 2.
Really, really good, a month and a half.
Yeah.
And then he's been awful. But that month and a half, the narrative was set before that, and so people were waiting for the moment for him to fail, unfortunately, and it was an easy thing for people to pounce onto. It's reality of where he's at now. I get it as part of the game, but I think if we're being fair, we can acknowledge at the same time that
he's been awful these last 2 games.
Well, no, that, but just that the narrative was also set on May 7th. He gave up a home run or whatever on May 7th, and from that point on, everybody thought he sucked, even though he was good for a month and a half. But he obviously cannot be the closer right now. They got to have somebody else do that.
In the 9th inning, he's got a 4.76 ERA, which is unacceptable. I'm not denying that. And in the 8th inning, he has an 8.64. Woo! 8th inning, not good for old James MacArthur. 0.00 in the 7th. Problem solved. He's pitched 1 inning.
There you go. Someone says, can we just sit back and enjoy that? You guys are at training camp, and we're talking Royals playoffs.
And we
That's
care.
True.
And we care.
And it matters. Obviously, the disagreement everybody's having, this is why, before you guys wouldn't have cared. That's how we know it's real. We're all differing viewpoints on certain moves they are or aren't making.
You care, we're fighting.
And the fact that, it's a warm day in St. Joe, that's putting it nicely, and that we've talked more Royals today than Chiefs because the Royals made a move.
By the way, Drew's not here. He's out of town. Q's back in the studio. Drew's in the Outer Banks.
Has Q still not gone to McDonald's, or we sort that out?
I don't think he ever went. But Gold, Drew talked you into. I don't remember what he kept calling
Frog Togs.
Frog Togs.
That's the name of the brand.
He talked you into these towels in which you dunk them in cold water.
By the way, tell me it doesn't feel good.
It does feel good.
It feels good.
I'm not going to lie.
During the break, you put on your forehead, man. It feels incredible. You know, and it's not you wrap around the neck.
Are you going to give him the proper?
I will when he comes back. It also has slits there where you can tie it like a bandana around your forehead. I'm not going to do that, but just around.
That what it's for?
I think so. Yeah, that's what you can thread the towel and tie it off. You could also choke yourself accidentally.
Easy.
So yeah, so.
I almost made a joke I shouldn't.
Don't do that.
I didn't. I changed my mind.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I changed my mind.
But no, I brought 2 of them. I was thinking of you. You know, I brought 2 towels. I could have taken both and been selfish. I did not. Brought 2, and I'll bring these back on Thursday. You know, it says you do a little machine wash, and then you clean them up, and then you redo it all over again. You just keep pouring cold water. I think they work for a while. These are pretty cool. You know.
Yeah, they're nice.
Whoever invented these, smart move. They've been around for a while. They were sold out at the store. I had to Amazon them and get them dropped off by 6:30 this morning. They arrived at 6:30 this morning.
Heat wave in Kansas City, you know?
That's right.
I mean, is it hotter in Kansas City or here in St. Joe?
It's warmer down south than here even. And it's hot here. But, yeah, it's even worse in Kansas City.
Kansas
City, yeah.
That's fine. I plan on staying inside the rest of the day. I don't know about you. But
yeah.
Has no intention.
I mean, I got to walk the dog, which is going to be brutal when I get home. The only good thing about the heat, I'll say this, you got to be careful, obviously, with dogs and the weather like this.
Sure.
But a short little walk, like a short walk, and she's beat.
Your dog's old, too, though.
Yeah, she moves around fine. She's 11, though, man, and next month. I know, it's crazy. She'll be 11, but she moves around. I give her some arthritis supplements, and she doesn't have any issues as long as she's on those. And knock on wood, man, she's moving around all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Up next, we continue broadcasting from camp here inside the Comcast Business Tent, powering possibilities. We'll get to what's trending. Plus, you'll hear a conversation we had with Chiefs rookie tight end Jared Wiley. We asked him a little bit about his college days, plus what he's seen so far at camp.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Subscribe and download the 249 Miles of Football podcast hosted by Drew Nixon on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes released every Wednesday. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 610 Sports Radio.
I know you see those big puddles in your parking lot where the potholes are abound. You don't need to keep doing it like that. Call Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Take care of your business the way you take care of your customers. One call to Gann for a streamlined project who can handle it all. Whether you got to strip the whole thing down, rebuild a whole parking lot, or just, do a coating, do a seal coating, do a drainage system, maybe some bumper blocks. It doesn't really matter which part of your parking lot project you need done. Gann does it all. They do every single part of the project from start until finish. I know you're like, oh, I got to take care of this thing, but how many calls am I going to have to make? One, singular, to Gann Asphalt and Concrete. You can see their work at GANNasphalt.com and see across the city all the different businesses they've worked for. Apartment complexes, large-scale delivery businesses, small businesses like yours, just like here at Odyssey, right? That's what you need. A company who has been in the local area and is locally owned and operated for the last 30 years to handle your parking lot needs. The idea that one call, that's not a small favor. That's a big thing that can save you a lot of time and make sure that the front-facing part of your business, your parking lot, looks as good as the service that you've been offering. Like I said, they've been serving the local community and owned locally for the last 30 years. Go to GANNasphalt.com and see what they can do for you.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler.com.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here, and let me tell you about my friends over at Window World. 816-799-0820. It is hot in the Kansas City Metro. We are in the middle of the summer, and what I want to do is I want to help your home be more energy efficient and keeping the hot air out. In just over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in Kansas City. And right now, they're offering an incredible deal. They're giving you 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. What I love most is, aside from major holidays, they have somebody there answering your questions 7 days a week. So if you got a question right now, pick up the phone and call my friends over at Window World, get a free home estimate, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. They're the official window managed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have had the same team in place for 20 years, and that team wants to help you. 816-799-0820, Window World.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions make sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 wager wins. Then you can bet all of your favorite international teams and all of your favorite events. That's basketball, badminton, soccer, swimming. FanDuel has it all. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to sign up and start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact my friend Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team. They have over 200 5-star reviews on Google and Zillow alone. If you want your home listed, call any agent. But if you want it sold, contact Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. In the last 12 months, Dawn and her team has sold over 120 homes when the average agent sells just 4 homes per year. Check them out at homesforsaleInKC.com. Enter your address and find out what your home is worth right away, and then get Dawn and her team working for you. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just a cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full-sized, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
Jane, I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
Or being a dog person and a cat person.
Who wants a treat? Who's a good boy?
Or like being an extrovert and an introvert.
Woo! This is so fun! I can't wait to go home.
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, when you switch, you can keep your phone, and we'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device, credit, service, and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on What's Trending, we continue broadcasting from Chiefs training camp. We had some Royals news, though, right before we hopped on the air earlier today. By now, you guys are probably aware that Michael Lorenzen is now a member of the Kansas City Royals. Comes over from the Texas Rangers. He was an all-star last year, 3.81 ERA in 18 starts this season. Lefty's hitting just a .144 against him. Now, in the month of July, his ERA did balloon up to 5.49. JJ Piccolo talked with the media earlier today and says they don't know for sure what role he's going to have. Did acknowledge that he's going to start games for them at some point this year. We just don't know if that's going to be right away or could be in September when they need a spot start. But they give up Walter Pennington, the 26-year-old minor leaguer who made his MLB debut. Really cool story at Coors Field for against the Rockies in front of his family, which was needed. He pitched great in that outing. But I think it's pretty clear that you're acquiring someone that might be able to help you this year versus a guy that probably didn't have long-term
or at least wasn't having this
benefit
year's
to
team.
your organization.
Yeah, I mean, he was a complete unknown commodity. He had broken through and done a good job in getting to the majors this year, but there was still work to do. Next up on What's Trending, the MLB trade deadline is starting to heat up. We'd mentioned a couple trades that took place earlier. Fetty is heading to the Cardinals in a 3-way deal with the Dodgers, with the White Sox getting back multiple big-name prospects in return. The Cardinals also active in getting Tommy Pham from the Chicago White Sox. That about 20 minutes ago.
He's back.
And Michael Kopech is heading to the Dodgers in a trade with the White Sox as well. People mostly expecting Flaherty to get dealt here soon as well. He's been pulled from his start for tonight. He's been scratched. He's not been traded yet, but we'll see. Jack Flaherty.
So of all the names that we've been discussing for weeks, so Chisholm's off the board, Kopech,
Flaherty's off the deal.
Flaherty, Tommy Pham.
So the guys we thought were going to get traded definitely got traded. But obviously to this point, it's been the two names we didn't really mention. I wasn't talking about Lorenzen. at any particular point, and we certainly weren't talking about Hunter Harvey. But the Royals, I still think, have done a nice job in those trades so far.
I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. Next up on What's Trending, Olympics are underway. Hope you had a chance to take in U.S. men's basketball team. I thought it was a really good first half. It was
Other than
fun.
Jason Tatum not playing, it was very weird.
It was an entertaining product, though. I mean, FIBA rules are different than the NBA. There's some benefit to it. Three-point line is shorter. Just seems like a more aesthetically pleasing game at times. And that's not to say that the NBA is not a good product, but if you're comparing it to the college game or something, well, yeah, of course the FIBA product's better. NBA, there's still some benefit to that. I just thought it was a really entertaining first half. Kevin Durant couldn't miss, and the U.S. currently leads the way with 12 medals, tied for 6 with 3 golds. I guess I don't have the last half hour Olympic medal count, but let's see. Here we go. Japan has 12, but they have the most golds. U.S. has 15 medals.
Oh, still the most.
But just 3 golds. So they're behind France, South Korea, China, and Japan in gold medals, but they have, I still think, the most medals, which updated to 12.
15 is still the most medals across the board, but yeah, just 3 golds, 7 silvers, and 5 bronze for the U.S. Next up on What Trending, the NFL says they will allow 12 players on the field in one instance this year on the new kickoff rules. If it is too windy for the ball to hold up itself, they will allow a 12 player to hold the ball during that rather than take them away from the kick return, how it works now, right? One of the guys who'd be going down to cover the kicks would be holding that. They'll just allow an extra 12th guy to stand in there and hold the ball for the kicker. But that's it. Job done.
We have to run off the field. What happens if he doesn't get off the field in time? Is it a re-kick? Is it a personal foul, a legal substitution penalty?
It's a great question. I don't really know what the rule is on that, but I'm guessing,
it'll
put
be
a little hustle in it.
It'll be pretty obvious if someone's not running off the field.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I'm guessing it's a re-kick if the team doesn't like the return. Otherwise, they just take the result and add on 10 yards or something like that.
Lastly, on What's Trending, Matt Ariza did get in some extra work today.
He did.
Confirm that.
We did see that. Out here, we were wondering who this person was on the far corner of the field. Nobody else was here.
At like noon, running 80-yard sprints.
Yeah, he's out here, just trying to get a good workout. All we saw were somebody is shirtless and Chief shorts and looks like he might be in shape. We're like, is it a staff member or a player? And the reason why we couldn't recognize him far away was, to be honest, we haven't seen much of Matt Ariza yet.
I'll know what he looks like moving forward.
Now we're good. So no other team's punter is out here running in this heat and putting in that kind of work. Just remember that. That's What's Trending.
It was like an earworm, I really, really wanted to know who it was. I was glad when you said, just go over there and ask him. I'm like, you know what?
Well, because the curiosity was going to annoy you the rest of the show.
Yeah.
And
then I wasn't going to be good for you the rest of the show because I was going to be so curious who it was.
Just go find out, please. And he was nice about it sounds like,
He was super cool. He'd have chatted for a little while, I think. If I just decided to, not come back from the show for a bit.
The Chiefs would have loved that. Like, hey, can you come over here real quick? I'm sure.
You got a few minutes, man?
I'm sure they would have loved that. We did have a Chiefs player join us earlier today, though, huh? Jared Wiley. A lot of talk around him after the draft. It sounds like there's reasons to be optimistic about maybe his long-term future here in Kansas City, but could he be a factor in the red zone? So we had Chiefs rookie tight end Jared Wiley stop by from Chiefs training camp. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Good to have you on the show. I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you before. First camp, NFL experience. How things going so far?
It's been really good. I got a lot of help with a lot of the older guys here. Obviously Coach Melvin is a great tight ends coach. Coach Reed is a great head coach. Just trying to be a sponge right now and just soak up as much information and knowledge as I can. It's kind of the goal.
Andy, take it easy on you. It seems like he scheduled the 10-10-10 at the perfect time.
Yeah.
It's miserably hot outside.
Yeah. That after 3 really long, hard days was definitely needed.
Yeah, I was gonna say look, you played at Texas, you played at TCU as well, so I'm assuming you've had some camps, fall practices or something where the weather's been this bad as well.
Oh, this feels great out here.
This is nothing?
Yeah,
see, that's the mentality I guess you got to have.
At Texas we used to practice on the turf field. It'd be about 120 on the turf. It's still humid. We would practice at 1, 2 in the afternoon. It was brutal. Kind of similar thing at TCU except for we were on grass. So Yeah, whenever I come out here in the mornings and it's a little humid, but it's 85 degrees, I'm like, oh, this
See,
is great.
we're complaining over here. We're sitting we're under a tent. We're here till 2, though. I will say that. But you guys are running around, and here we are. So it puts things in perspective just a little bit. Also, earlier, my co-host Cody, we were talking about on Friday. He thought he broke his finger. We're like, you didn't break your finger. He went to an urgent care over a swollen finger.
Look, I've got a wife. Like, shouldn't that count for something? She wasn't going to let me just, like, keep being injured forever.
No, I mean, the fingers, though, I don't know if I can be with you on that one.
Oh, wow.
You know, a ball hits a receiver's finger weird, it'll break, or you just got to kind of pop it back into place, and you're good.
That's it. Just move on with my life.
The doctor didn't give him any advice.
So, like, I guess that's always it, right? Because you're a professional athlete. Your girlfriend, I think, is like a collegiate athlete. Would she be pro? I'm sorry.
Whoa, there
I apologize.
Hey.
Last time I saw an interview, they were interviewing her as a college player, so that's my bad.
She just signed pro a couple months ago.
Okay, so you're both professional athletes. I'm guessing at some point, but like if you've got something ailing you, doesn't she want you to like make sure you go see the trainer?
Yeah, I don't. I don't really speak up on stuff like that, especially to her, because she's definitely. That kind of person who, you need to go get this looked at. You need to, if you're feeling sick, you need to talk to them. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I don't know if it's like a male thing or if it's like, I don't know what it is. But, yeah, she definitely wants me to go get stuff checked out.
Since you mentioned Texas and you played there, we a couple of weeks ago when NCAA football came out, we were talking about that the video games developers didn't let them put horns down. Should they have allowed it in the game? Not is it good or bad? Should they have allowed it in the game? Part of college football.
I mean, if you look at A&M's deal with the thumbs up, if you do thumbs down, did they put that in the game? If they did, then they should have let the horns down. I don't really have a say so in it. I try to stay away from that as much as possible.
What was that like? So again, for those who don't know, you were at Texas, but ultimately at TCU as well. So. What was that like? I don't know how much the rivalry is there between the two necessarily, but both were in the Big 12 last year. So at that point in time, was that a weird thing with teammates? Like with the people there at TCU, the horns down thing, was that something they enjoyed and then you were mixed motions because you were at Texas prior?
No, we didn't. TCU, you never saw like the horns down or anything. I feel like that was more like, obviously like Oklahoma or like
Kansas did it once.
West Virginia did it a couple times, but I mean, I never had like any issues with anybody from TCU talking about Texas or anything like that. I will say this though, especially that my first year at TCU was definitely weird going back to Austin to play Texas. That was probably the weirdest I've ever felt, like going into a game or like a week or anything like that.
Speaking of Chiefs tight end Jared Wiley, earlier in practice we saw quad pass. I don't know what it's called. Mahomes to Tony. Back to Mahomes, back to Tony, then to Xavier Worthy. You played high school quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, I've always been told you got to wait a few years before, like from players, you got to wait a few years before you ask Andy for a pass. But do you itch for the moment that you get to throw a pass in an NFL game?
I am very excited for the opportunity, but I'm not going to bring it up to anybody. I'm in no position right now.
He knows you played high school quarterback.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm in no position to, go up to him and be like, hey, you should let me throw that. That's not but whenever it does, if the time does come, it'll go about 70 yards. I'll launch it.
Is there? You've still got a pretty good arm.
Oh, yeah.
Were you a dual threat guy then? I guess I just think tight ends. You must have been like the running / passing quarterback.
Yeah. No, I was definitely dual threat.
Did you get opportunities to play? Like, could you have gone somewhere and played in college quarterback or?
No, not
okay.
really. Quarterback's a weird deal, especially coming out of high school. Like, if you want those big offers, you got to play like sophomore, junior, senior year. I just started my senior year at quarterback. Played tight end the year before that, and then like outside receiver, backup quarterback the year before that. So I was so all over the place that nobody, really got to, get a good look, I guess, at what I could do at quarterback. Kind of happy that's how it played out. I don't think I'd be here right now. So
yeah, I think they're set at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get your first invite to tight end U this year?
Yeah, I did. I had to. I couldn't go this year. Still moving into my apartment up here and just having to figure all that stuff out to try to get settled in. But I definitely plan on going next year.
How's Kansas City for you, though? I mean, you mentioned Austin, your time there. Like, what stood out about Kansas City? Have you found a spot or two or a type of food? Obviously, everybody asks about barbecue, but you had that in Texas as well.
Yeah. I mean, I like Kansas City a lot, to be honest with you. It kind of reminds me of Fort Worth a little bit. I loved Fort Worth whenever I was there. But, as far as, you kind of have downtown, but outside of downtown, it's open. It's not super crowded. That's what I hated about Austin. It's so crowded everywhere you go. You got to go 45 minutes out of the city just to, have your own space. So I kind of related to Fort Worth in that aspect of things. And so, I think that's why I like it so much. As far as the food, yeah, I've tried a couple different barbecue spots. Q39 is probably my favorite right now. Other than that, though, I'm kind of basic whenever it comes to food. I have a guy who does meal prep for me, stuff like that. So other than that, super basic with it.
This could be a chance for a fan to get to know you. Do you have any hobbies outside of football? We always like to ask, just in case there's you could play piano for all we know.
No, I'm an avid video game player.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your game? What's your best game? Or give me a couple. That's fine.
So we got the easy ones like Call of Duty. Me and my friends from college, we play FIFA. We play MLB. Obviously NCAA is the hot one right now. Just stuff like that. The list. There's probably 40, 50 games that we'll get on and play. But yeah, we all really enjoy just being able to do that with each other and still getting to chop it up with your guys from back home and talk about all the stories like your old heads now.
Jared, appreciate it, man. We know you got to run, get inside, obviously, and welcome to Kansas City, and best of luck this season.
I appreciate it. You have a great day.
So that was Jared Wiley joining us a little bit earlier today. All our Chiefs player interviews brought to you by the St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau. Plan your trip today. I wish we had some more time even to talk with him. He seems like an interesting guy, good personality as well. We didn't even get into football too much with him overall, but big gamer. Someone on the text line said, "What's his gamer tag?" No clue. I have no idea.
We didn't remember to ask.
I have no clue what the gamer tag is. It sounds like that's something he enjoys, and he says he's basic when it comes to food, but he does have a chef making him food.
Meal prep.
Meal prep. You
think he just gets whatever that one that accidentally got delivered to your house and you cook?
No, when he says meal prep, I think he has a real
like a chef.
Yeah. No. What was it? It was like Martha Stewart's.
Yeah, I don't
that
remember.
accidentally got sent to my door. I told you I made really good tacos that night. It was they're taquitos that night. They were really good. I haven't ordered since.
That's why you should cook them. You could just make them.
I could, but I'll be honest. So it was really good. I think to me, it was like, wow, it took me 12 minutes to eat, and it took me an hour to cook. So I was like,
and you didn't like that ratio.
Yeah, and I
What would you rather be doing with that time? I guess because you could have the TV on in the background while you're cooking.
Yeah, just relaxing.
Just hanging out?
I'll admit, obviously I should cook more, but at the same time, I still maintain when it's just you, it's one person. Sometimes the time is not worth it. If you are in a relationship or whatever, and you're cooking for more than one person. I think then I'm with you, where it's like, okay, it's way more, not only cost effective, but I'm not. So my issue is just me, and I'm not a leftover person. So couple, just me and not leftovers means I'm not going to go spend $25 to make dinner for that one night for me. You know what I mean? If I'm not doing leftovers.
But I think you should. I think it's time to start eating leftovers. It's time.
That's a whole family thing, though.
I think that should be your goal for 2025.
Nobody in my family does. That's something that is just bad. I just had pizza last night I was at Minsky's with a couple people from my family, and there was probably 3 slices of pizza left. Really, Minsky's is great, and they're like, "Do you want a box?" I'm like, no, we're not leftover people. And we just
throwing food away.
Well, it's not like I'm proud, but also
Shameful.
I knew. Here's the problem. And I know for a fact because I've done it 100 times.
Leftover pizza, that's the safest food.
Here's the thing. If I would have put it in my fridge last night, it would have sat there for a week. It would have sat there for a week, Cody. I would love to tell you that, I would have had it for dinner tonight. But I wouldn't have. So why take it if I know I'm not going to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess, but
And I know I'm in the minority here, but
it's like working out. I understand. It's the same thing. It's like I should work out more. And it's hard to talk yourself into it. I think you should try to talk yourself into eating a leftover. At least some leftovers I don't like either.
The only food I've ever really done leftovers of, some Chinese food is very good leftover. And then in the wintertime, a good, there's this dish, it's like a roast with potato dish. I'll do that leftover. And then soups. Other than that, I'm out. But I'm not doing pasta leftovers. I know plenty of people get carry out. That spaghetti and meatball carry out that's left over would sit in my fridge for a week.
I'm not saying no leftovers ever get wasted in the Tap household. They do.
Someone says
some don't hit their rotation.
Yeah.
Some don't sound good in the moment, but we eat plenty of leftovers.
Someone says Minsky's is overrated. I think it's good. It's not. Is it my favorite pizza in the entire city? No, but I'm not a big pizza guy overall. I'll be honest, I like that thin cracker crust from Old Shawnee Pizza.
You're a cracker crust guy.
I like that. Pizza Shop, Old Shawnee Pizza, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Minsky's is fine. I can't, in moderation. Like, sometimes I, want something a little bit different.
Leftover pizza is
Pizza
almost
Tassio, obviously. So.
I made my kids eat leftover pizza the other night. They were fine. They
Oh,
didn't care.
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
We have to. I mean, we were always a leftover family anyway. And there weren't a lot of
Yeah,
leftovers.
if I have kids ever, like at that point, maybe I have a different view on it. But
I think if there's more cooking happening in your house, you'll probably have a different view on it.
I would agree.
Although some members of your family must cook.
Yeah.
You're saying the entire Gold
but it's
family is anti-leftover.
But it's at restaurants though. The idea go out to eat and then you're going to eat that same meal tomorrow. Like we're just not good about that. It would sit in the fridge. I'm just telling you. So why?
I'm more leftover for the food I cook than the
well,
food
I
I
just
eat at the
listed you when I've had
Way more
leftover.
likely.
It's been more home cooked stuff. But at a restaurant, I'm bringing it back. It just unfortunately sits there. Anyway, someone says, "What about the snow cone?" Oh yeah, we did not have a snow cone for Wiley today.
Apologize.
I don't think he even was aware of it. So it's all good.
And I didn't get one. just
Thursday, we're
Jones.
back up here. That's the plan, at least.
I'll get a couple snow cones.
And then we'll see who we get. We'll see who we get.
That's the plan. Just as long as it's still nice, still I don't know, not rainy outside.
Someone says, "How many photos did Cody take of a shirtless player? Over under 2?"
Tough call.
I stopped him. Otherwise, it would have been over. I think it was just under, maybe just 2.
Pole's in the way. Just one.
How many shirtless photos now of Matt Ariza do you have on your phone?
Just one.
Just one.
I'll
Please
delete
delete
it.
it. Just please
myself a
delete it.
lawsuit.
Please delete it, because if you don't, I'm going to reference this in 6 months and be like, show me your phone. Prove that you don't have the photo still.
I just deleted it.
Prove you don't have the photo.
They're not
still.
there anymore. You can't accuse me of continuing to. I wasn't. Gold and I weren't sure at the time whether or not the person out on the field was just like some trainer for the team or an actual player.
That's
because
fair.
I've covered training camp a long time, so have you now. I have seen players out on the field doing work well after practice ends.
This was 2 hours
but it
after.
Is almost, and it's usually after a while because you got to wait for meetings to end. But it is almost always with a coach or with another player. They're not just riding solo out here. That person was just doing 80-yard wind sprints.
Yeah,
I'm like,
turned out to be the punter of the Chiefs.
Turned out as the punter. Said he doesn't get enough running in during practice. During practice, mostly he just stands there or punts, not runs.
Yeah.
He likes to get a run in.
Again, no other punter in the league is doing that, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You should feel good about that.
I think so. That feels, I don't know. I mean, we got the scoop. Who else had that scoop? If we weren't here until 2 o'clock today, who would know that Matt Ariza was doing sprints?
That's right.
2 hours
Someone
after
says
practice.
2 years and you guys still have not hit the sleds.
One of these times when I turn around,
The sled is not going to move. It's just not going to move. You're going to hurt. Cody already has a bad finger. Now Cody's going to have a dislocated shoulder. He's going to try to put his shoulder into it. He's going to pop his shoulder out of place. We already found out he didn't break his finger after all that.
Yep.
Thanks to the listener that sent me a photo of Cody in the waiting room.
That's HIPAA.
A listener sent me a photo of Cody in the waiting room on Saturday, and you cut the line to get to the front. Unreal.
I just filled out my paperwork
Thanks to Q filling in, producing all week long for us. We're back in studio tomorrow. We'll see. It'll be trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. We'll see if the Royals make any other moves. Reminder, George Brett going to be on with The Drive coming up in the 4 o'clock hour today. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.